solid like a kidney stone, fate pulls me to naan bread baking. I find myself saying this expression too, maybe I should bake naan bread at least. They found something black dwarves did excellent, siege weapons and artillery. They asked and got to learn a lot about their ballistas and trebuchet, pouring magical hot oil on enemies while they were sieging below a castle, to fortify and bombard with black powder, artillery too, dwarven culverins. And dropping fist-shaped stones on enemies sieging under. James took one course of butt magic that only required you to go to...
I wonder when it's the next time to upgrade my PC. It's 8K the next time I'm gonna upgrade, I think. In 10 years, maybe it's time to upgrade again, and I'm gonna have to, but at the same time, I really need something better than 4K 40 FPS, or sometimes higher in some games, you know, it depends. Remember my stuff breakdown. Then it's time to stop upgrading and just buy a whole new PC. It's gonna be fun to just buy a huge PC on sale instead of buying the parts individually, but of course it's gonna be kind of like the same thing. Look at all individual parts in the PC and set up for that is good enough, you know.
James took one course of butt magic that only required you to go to elven restaurants. While they were eating beans and burritos, empanadas and cheese, they were taught, your butt is the strongest muscle, your butt is power, and the fatter or muscular you are usually the better. If your muscles are genetically strong, you have potential to use your ass. The strongest butt wizards are indeed physical marvels. James put use in remembering the butt technique deafen, a deafening flatulence that silenced magic and removed hearing for 5 minutes. In the arrogant fire magic courses too, they were learning to detonate surfaces. Some were easy, others like living things or stone didn't like getting ignited. Again, James showed a lot of promise, making the second biggest stone balloon before it detonated. Mana and life leech might be useful, but you could not attack while doing it, but James envisioned sometimes it might be the only thing you can do. Trying to go on the next adventure with Arno in the sandy furnace of desolation that would take them somewhere else, they came across an expensive curiosity shop, Martin Twat stolen, lost and found. James could not buy many totems of silver, voodoo tablets and skulls with candles before his money would run out. You're not questionable enough to shop here, you look like a tit. You don't have to spell it out. What's that? It's a key you put into your keychain. It was black and smoking, looked like a pillar of agonizing victims. Do you know where it leads, stranger? He said, like knowing this would be punishing. No, these planes get stranger wherever we go, needless to say. I won't come here again, and you won't ever see it again. If you thought desolation was hot, he spoke of cunning being skinny and dry. 4,000 quid to tickle your adventure. Don't you want to access another plane? I'll buy it from you if you decrease the price. Who do you think is going to buy it for 4,000? Do you know what this cost me? The bent-over man talked like a mystic victim of great adventures. Do you know what it cost me to get out? Bending forwards, magic stopped hiding scars, small horns and a completely white, dead eye. No, but I'll emphasize. 3,000 quid then,
what?
You better
Seriously?
buy it. I'll be rid of this like a curse of peons and poets, the constipated and damned. It's from Ihenger, done deal thus, James smiled knowing he beget the deal. What is unknown and worth so much? Don't throw it all away, proclaimed Arno. Everyone knows a celebrity shouldn't burn all his new winnings on vehicles. We'll see, Arno. Activating the key, they disappeared through the shop floor and entered in what seemed a rabbit hole of strange furniture and animals and abstract paintings, but he wanted to follow it through and make it logical. Falling, eventually things sped up and it got hotter and brighter, so fast it was agonizing. They had to balance on rays of dark-colored sunlight. With a cosmic-like shard skateboard, there came different sunlight beams. They jumped sideways and grinded, arduously upwards through sunlight of every shape, sometimes falling 30 meters to hit a tiny beam below. There were lava streams on the sides and a bright light started emanating from inside them, like menopause. Just when they thought the fire would tear apart and destroy and the destination was being reached, they exited on a hellscape. Chapter 5, South of Heaven. Where did we go? Said the bunny. He
Bunny,
noses and went on his
sorry.
hind legs like a meerkat. They were on a lava floating, but mostly black rock in a black hellscape, smoky red horizon with no sun. It smelled burnt and of sulfur. Did we go to hell? I thought this was Florida. Look, there's an alligator. Gosh, why would we end up in a place like this? They found a party next to a giant French-looking giant gate, or castle looking next to a bridge. Ah, a new recruit, said a hero-looking blonde with golden armor, hair, muscular over fat, truthful duty, wide should-we plates and double chin. It felt like he was neither gearing for what they're going to face or not, like sexy steel bikini armor. Welcome to hell, the lowest level of the elevator. We can't get out, can we? Ah no, considered an escape and acceptance like entering into a grey world. No, well, really, as long as you have a keychain and you're not dead, you can teleport out here at the gates of limbo. Here are the men that knew no justice nor righteousness. They had no mercy and cowardly in adversary, he continued. There's religion and hell. What's the bloody right religion then? Arno said, losing his previous conceptions. They don't tell you. You're supposed to live religiously as a disciple and stop your wicked ways. That's the safest best, I think. That holds up. Because further down in the 9 circles of hell it takes a lot to get to. Another party member, an elite elf with a wild beast bow, stag horns, white blank eyes and a belt of monster slayer bombs of every kind, said. We are not omnipotent. The best judge for your sins is your own consciousness and heart. If you do not think things you've done are so bad and you motivate with pure of heart and heart of the cards, they're not maybe. Wickedness gets you a long way here, not being lesbian or having honored the wrong details to worship. The hero continued. Did you not know? Heaven and hell is at war again for the last time. All planes will be affected as good wins over evil.
Come on!
Hopefully, Satan is cleverly coming up with ways to influence heaven and hide many abysmal weapons, mythical and forgotten. He's corrupting everything he touches, hidden, disguised as people you won't expect, many. We are going to raid hell at this time, swipe the contraptions, riches and weapons, defeat Satan, make our own powerful reign on Einhanger. We'll delve in the irony of sin for undeserving men, we'll see what happens. An elven priest conservative with battle robes. There is supposed to be more ways for redemption here, although the test not obvious, you're only supposed to be punished so far. Eternal hell is not for every soul. The spirit of a tortured soul appeared white, shorter and gleaming. You could see mechanical wings. She's right, you know, this is a corrupted place. Maybe I have a chance to return, reincarnated with memory swept. I hope I don't sin again. Death in black swirls appeared with hollow hood and scythe and 26-inch grey arms. Priestess heaped at the energy of the stare, most black and hollow. His energy was of an ESFJ, a feeler yet hidden behind layers analyzing non-sympathy. There was a depth you had never felt, yet you know it was death because at some point someone had talked about him. I didn't know death lifted heavy weight, said James. I have sensed you as my friend's suicidal. I have business with Satan. James, you have never been near death unless in a fight. I am not completely spirit, I need to work out. Bony arms does not swing a scythe. You are so stupid in depression with your fate and indignation potential. Stop thinking about pills, get rid of the sleeping pills, you don't need them. You can also choose to die forever here, never to live again, never to be tortured again eventually. Don't choose it, it's literally surrendering your soul to Satan. We keep giving awards to people for their stupidest, conscious deaths and put it on YouTube, named after a biologist, Darwin, the Darwin Awards. I know these death worshippers, it's funny, like that guy who was selling skyscraper glass. He charged into the glass with all he physically had. Indeed, it was indestructible, but the glass popped out of frame and he fell down with his pitch. I am thus counting everyone who gets crushed by a piano. Death pulled a scrawny scroll, he make across marks with a finger. I heard about a German who pushed an industrial leaf blower up his ass with his friends edging him. If Satan takes over heaven, there will be hellspawn and smoldering hellscape everywhere, and people will be unable to choose between right and wrong, confused and sedated to choose non-compassion, scared to counter evil people. Every good person will be dead, then stillborn, a feast for flies. We can convince Satan to renounce his throne, give him power and territory somewhere else, but there are 13 family members related to Satan who will have to be convinced as well, or they can take over his reign. Good enough to progress, maybe. Grandfather of hell is not a good idea. Maybe we should aim for this, said James. If hell is ruled by a weaker sister, maybe things will stay under the lid. It was time for him to use his whole brain and heart. And he stored a good amount of lethal lava land leaf as well, enough to smoke like a wise wizard every lunch. You raiders should consider forcing him to renounce with force, said Death. I might help. Dying feels like walking faint in a world of shadows. You have high cholesterol, French Arnaud guy, keep smoking. Arnaud threw his primitive cigarette away. What I'm really feeling is how close you are to a heart attack, said Death. It feels like hot arguments, like with high blood pressure. I can feel it too, said James. All through I am conservative like Burke. I feel my role. Don't let it enter your mind to try and kill me, James. Death said psychically. James' instincts were flaring. That was very specific. He's giving it away. But what would I gain from killing Death? He knows about the gleaming unholy strike. James kept pondering this as everyone talked in a circle around him. The hero continued. All food in hell is at least 5,000 Scoville. Tastier things might turn into ash in your mouth. The coffee is burnt even for Italians. There's only variants of 2 hot chili as a spice and black pepper. Thus there are baths but the water is boiling. Satan appeared disguised as a 4 meter black spike. Satan appeared disguised as a 4 meter black spike demon, like a spiritual version, communicating like a telephone. Once I hear something I can't forget it. I can't help it. It's Satan, said Priestess. What are you lot doing here? He said, rather difficult, absorbing everything, bask in the glorious first steps. Your gambit with heaven will lose everything to us, said the hero, brave indeed. You can't descend past the fallen angel yet breach our castle at the edge of the abyss.
We got 99 strength and
nice tricks of the mind, Satan, said James. Twice the pride, double the velocity I smash you through the wall. It's true, you are chanceless against me as well. I have skewered giants like arrogant boors and adventurers with the latest brave tricks, weapons of blinding light and mental crushing betrayal. Righteous people I have smashed through unconscious, laying on their back in brave armor, swords adjacent. My kin is loyal, might play your role but report to me like successor of demon. Find your place on my corrupted court instead. Go all the way in sin, believe in yourself not God or religion, commit every sin. James realized now Satan was an ENTP personality type, a real devil's advocate. Maybe he wasn't much of a thinker unless monologuing what you need to do to sin. Join him and how the light is wrong. Like an accountant. What is buried may never surface. Satan disappeared in a black swirl feet first. The elf priest said, here in Limbo the first circle you can find lots of petty things taken too far, in arguments, bad decisions after lovers leave, suicides and good people making some bad decisions. I feel tired, hungry, hot and thirsty, said Spartacus. You're always hungry and thirsty in hell, said the hero. Don't ignore it. If you have muscle or fat they will wither. Everything is on a timer for the living. You think your mind breaking will be fine, losing common laughter and joy, tripping brain, you will recover slowly. A timer to ignore, to spend your ambition too late. So if we don't delve too deep, don't be too greedy and vocacious. James said, I know what can break a castle siege, black dwarf artillery, I'll be back double quick. I'm not going to sit around waiting, I'll join you, said Arno, deciding intelligently in the moment. James came back stocked on food and drink and mana potions. Arno pushed 2 black dwarf bombards and scrolls of ushing in more artillery at the right moment, grand expensive teleports. I also brought Wizard Yensid. A BUTT magician is never late, he is just interrupting, Yensid said like a hero, hands on hips, elbows out. We waited for you for 60 minutes. And now I'm waiting on you, keep up. That is the slayer of the Bloodgods, said Arno unexpectedly, never gazed upon the grandeur. I don't believe anything like that, is he pointing at you, Yensid? There is something you don't know about me. I met a plane and species them so hungry and devoid. Insect men, if they had expanded another 10 years they would have killed us all, and then the next plane. So I farted changing their magnetic field, they all died horribly. I had to drop out of the clouds 4,000 meters on Einhanger but I double jumped to the end, I'm fine. What's those stairs into clouds over there? I don't know, I don't live here, he said stupidly. James and Arno went up green grey beautiful stairs.
I guess today is still time to worry about having nothing to do while I have 99 melee stats. I guess I can use ranged and magic. Still.
James and Arno went up green grey beautiful stairs. It felt like elevating. There was a beefy, very fully clad soldier with a 2-handed winged sword coming down, winged helmet up like knives, chest muscles giant and symmetrical through the plate. He looked indomitable and focused on the task, thus ignoring them. HMPF. They gathered steps into the clouds, into a golden white fortress. It was like songs of ancient battle, details carved like endless time, into plate and pillar, intelligence in a better place. They felt light and forgetting their worries, having to readjust later. We're busy deploying troops, said a similar knight, no winged helm. How are you doing? Wow, we walked up a lot of stairs, I feel dizzy. This is the last outpost haven, before the step of hell. We're going to raid hell. Maybe you won't push us out the door then. No, I might mention this to Archangel Ariel. Ow, my wings are really coarse behind this plate body splendor. There is respite, soldiers. There was an armory. The armor was heavier and legendary, detailed and ancient, a story of art on each plate body. There was a golden white library with thick history books and stories of struggle, or just a very large row of bookshelves to your south entering. There were winged warriors, in the helms, swords, etc., sitting over their swords, contemplating, preparing for fate. In the camp they had winged cavalry, jousting horsemen with lance of the sun. They could shift into pure sunlight to go through the enemy, no damage in corporeal forms. There were winged warriors, in the helms, swords, etc., sitting over their swords, contemplating, preparing for fate. In the camp they had winged cavalry, jousting horsemen with lance of the sun. They could shift into pure sunlight to go through the enemy, no damage in corporeal forms. They met the incorporeal heaven emotionally distant core corporal. For being a general he was compassionate, thinking and didn't just think about chain of command. He looked like a hardest square general though. It all comes down to this: we have light elementals spawned through blissful deeds of the righteous. They can absorb the energy and years from an enemy, then blind them and stun them. Burning eyes, the blind last longer. The regular and Nemesis Griffins dropping bombs are intelligent, they're birds. The golden-plated wide-helmed Arbalist shot through every enemy, dangerous like worry. They were protected by the golden sentinels, stoic and plated like heaven's promise.
What's a funny animal? Ashes of a lion blown up with propane. Alchemy ingredient.
The golden-plated wide-helmed Arbalist shot through every enemy, dangerous like worry. They were protected by the golden sentinels, stoic and plated like heaven's promise. Barbed giant spears and absorbing melee and ranged attacks. If you got close to the golden Arbalist, they always got a hit in. Out came a supreme seraph, an armored 4 meters archangel behind white robes beneath. Robes showing about 30%. He had 2 two-handed swords, one the legendary Patriarch, fiery great sword as good-looking as they come, and a phase blade, the grandfather. They actually increased his defense and magical shields thus. Demons have a hard time to fight around an archangel. His aura and holy light protects units from smoldering fire, magic and darkness. In the halls of the opulent, grand to roof haven they found God Bacchus, god of winemaking, epiphany, festivity and theatre. They decided to drink with the angels and had a terrific time, surprisingly in energy elevated, forced into things it felt like. Sometimes, it required more energy. I'm really enjoying the new cultivating and purple teal plants from the Delicacy Islands. I could keep working there more than anything else for you guys. I feel like there is meaning, and I'm content with the hours. We must provide for ourselves like there is no God, sitting in his elevated Greek opera lawyer hall and deciding our charity.
Yeah, I'm having a good time here. Starting the day off with a little bit of book. Last time we did another book. I don't know, it's such a good part. And I have just enjoying Slay with maximum strength here. The speed. Oh, speed is a lot, mate. It's getting really hard to drive the car.
We must provide for ourselves like there is no God.
Proper aneurysm, mate. To thank God we're only driving at the bottom gear instead of top gear. Or last today of medium gear. It's so dumb, Jesus Christ. How do we taste exhaust fume?
We must provide for ourselves like there is no God, sitting in his elevated Greek opera lawyer hall and deciding our charity.
Today on bottom gear, I drive a silent electric car. Jeremy gets into the voices, and what's his name? Hammond gets kidnapped by drug lords in Colombia. If you wanna watch bottom gear on YouTube compilation, that's a good idea sometime. Hammond, you're holding Tic Tac. Maybe I'll show you on this stream. I mean, look at the stream first, and then when I'm done, you can. or I do it.
We must provide for ourselves like there is no God, sitting in his elevated Greek opera lawyer hall and deciding our charity. Isn't there God, gods in other planes and worshipping of places sure to change? Arnaud said to himself. You have come here for help. I'm sure you need it in your midst, said an angel brown-haired, curled twice at his temple and chest plate without arms. You're not going to hell or anything. Your story has not been in vain. Know the embrace of the angels and the fruit of your progress. You have a strong heart. I know you can do it. Your path lies before you and can be read with a few paths. James woke up later in a purple and white pillow infestation with pink mantle. He seemed to be drunk still, or afflicted. There seemed to be someone looking down at him like holy. Light blinded him at her sides and above. Wake, handsome man, I know of your deeds, they told me everything. Her voice was deep and echoing, like allowing herself to be unwomanly brusque. Hello, woman of heavenly confusion, and why did I change clothes? Now in Greek manly dress, how would he get out of this one?
I'm sorry.
3 meters, she seemed rectangular, plain and almost fat except a pink-white mantle of clouds, and she was clothed Greek, had yellow rings in her horns on the sides like a demon. They were carved and like elephant tusks, but there seemed to be divine and worship around her, definitely a good deity. James thought of lines of worship and would hurry up. You are like a Greek Olympian cast now, maybe you would fit in anvil throwing and discourse. Are you a challenger? Of course I am a challenger of Olympics, and in wheelchair sports I am a prodigy. I am sexy with legs not moving, sitting around for my might and arms. You don't need legs for every sport. I could just push you along, cute giggle asterisk. To prove everything for everyone all the time just spends a lot of time. James decided to be complimenting and worshipping, or kind. You are eternal in your mind and pink Lordunum landscape. I love a toy with righteous plight, a landscaper with intent. She was enthralling and dreamy. Another voice in his head said, I'm going to screw a giant lady. I have seen you in my dreams maybe, something pulling me the right way, surely I would end up here, seems just about.
You know, who knows what book is turned to a movie, but this was a movie that would say, alright, the next alchemy ingredient we need for this Blackguard's shitty bar symphony potion is ashes by a lion blown up with a propane. And then they say to each other, should we animate that? Yeah, I think we should. And there's this sequence of a lion going like,
I have seen you in my dreams maybe, something pulling me the right way, surely I would end up here, seems just about time. Have you always looked like this? Your shape is fair and I can see your eyes. My eyes are a mystery like the clouds we look at with spiritual scope, or planets in a ring. I see some things in purple mystery and paths we go in lives, if you do not make too many sudden moves, some things I do not see. It was time to be deep in Seers of Mirrored Moons and allow her to be excellent, now that she decided to show it off. What is my purpose here? You came here. What is my purpose in this very visit? I snatched you. She came closer, snared him with her body, then being adjacent with her body resting on her elbow. She looked so interested, yet it was time to not say anything stupid. She started cuddling and treated him as a plaything. In this way and duration it felt heavenly. You dare use your fingers like inspecting, I am a fierce warrior. I am sure I can handle any sword or lightning bolt you can wield. She cuddled him dramatically and enjoyed herself feeling his muscles, comparing him. What could he do? We will find a place for you, young one. Her voice was like hairspray and considering physical cohesiveness. They were reminded before leaving. We will come with you, but our general are poor to time strikes right now. Ugh, he is the general posthumus, always arriving when the battle is over. He's not too blunt in tactics, strategy, really. He is out of time and almost forgotten. He has a brother which is a demon and they face off in hell, oblivious. Can we rely on him? Surely. Resist hamster potion, when would we need that? Down long stairs. I'll slow my metabolism down to stop withering. The party entered the gate and over a 100-meter bridge, through river of fire. Jesus Christ, what is that mass? It's a river of swarming accountants next to the fire, must be thousands. They swarmed in blue-collar shirts, conservative correction and anguish in a river through the fire. Abyssal accountants. The certainty of accountancy, potency and accuracy. It is inescapable. You sound like you admire them. I fear them, I was being poetic. Don't move, the accountant's vision is based on movement. Don't encourage them, they'll come back in greater numbers. The night is dark and full of accountants. The river of unrelenting accountants led to a giant courtroom. They were punted inside by zigzagging paths, having a clear vision enough. Inside stood a 7-meter giant blind with vertical slits for nose and eyes, crown of knives, gavel in his left hand and sword in the other. Grey, withered and cut flesh, he had smouldering wings. There were regal empty chairs seeming for giants, mirrors of smoke and just smoke creating a room about half of the remaining enclosing was rising seats. Behind him they saw a Scottish accountant with gaping zombie content with malice, walking on his hands and legs. He defiled a close-by accountant, climbed over him. "Hour, and bile year he'd, go away and stop bothering me." They shut the door behind them and he didn't really comprehend the problem. Life is Scottish, why should the afterlife be any different? He screamed at the door, it preventing him from chasing after them.
251 times.
Court session is in order. A poor soul stood.
Space confined hamster, right? Yeah. I have in mind.
A poor soul stood next to a podium in the middle. Imps were laughing disassociated and pale souls and ghosts sat in the rising seats. "Please, I never did anything illegal for my company. I just needed to keep the company alive. So many people depended on me. Mortgages. I am reasonable and good, fair to my allies and not greedy. I do not have eyes, but it allows me to smell your lie. You did illegal laundering for years, paying taxes when you could afford. People tell a different story about, in hell. You killed Christina Stewart, you used every power, pushed her into a dwarven woodchucker so she would not uncover your smelly corporation. Fourth circle of hell, he said ultimately. What do we have here? A party of alive sinners. I am Ouroboros, the judge into hell. Pray I don't smell your lie. What? We. 2 murderers here and 2 glutton, Arno and James. Ouroboros took a long pause then said surprisingly nice. Killing people is seriously bad, guys. Who are you to decide if someone lives or dies? Remember not to be cold-hearted. You are only a proper fair judge until you meet someone stronger. This going to go wrong for you sooner or later. I don't mind waiting. My revenge is sweet, justice unescapable. I shall go easy on you as you're alive. Gluttony isn't really that bad. What am I supposed to do make you lose all the fat? Bodybuilders are the second biggest gluttons. Did you really think you needed 10,000 calories per day? Looking at YouTube videos from people viewing steak as medicine. Look where I got for my sins. I thought I was in the final lap of winning running away from everything the fastest. I didn't know my savory lies could only take me so far. I know yours through competence and intuition, eternal third black eye. Ouroboros. If you work in hell it must be punishment enough, said James conversationally. There is still alcohol and haggis pie for my services, he said abruptly. Look Ouroboros, we want to enter hell alive and cause havoc, abrupt Satan, benefiting heaven. I remember heaven, maybe I can still visit my family someday. My burnt wings are that of a fallen angel, but you want to enter hell willingly. Seriously, hilarious, I will grant you passage thus. I try to get people into hell, you know, sniff anyway. And I'll keep the gates open if you return. If you are alive you can choose to help souls absolve their sins or punish them. They all lie, but be a good judge. You can't put the wrong man into eternal hell. Here we see the value of true regret. Obviously don't fake regret, idiots, understand what you have done, feel the victim's emotion. They went until the magical elevator of hell. It looked like a demon, covered in skulls, tentacles, red and purple living mass. Always late and got to floors randomly, gets stuck to full you and you feel sickening if you fear elevators. It would stop 3 times stuck yet with intent. It played death metal, drag me to hell by aborted. ARRG make it stop, why is he growling? This is a jam, seriously, said James and Arno. There was a red button in the middle, if you pressed the elevator would snap the cables and you would crash down. Magically it got wider for the whole party and opened glass windows so they could see souls agonizing. There's so many people here. There is every toil, trick and tainted hook. Into the circle of greed and religious misuse. Priestess, here lies those that did everything wrong and then said in the name of God. In fear, hate and negative religion. 4 generations of crusaders lie here, toiling in work and hate, they died for nothing. Christianity didn't do anything holy in those lands, nor were their sins actually vanquished by the artifacts and priests. Those that killed and tortured homosexuals, zealot and frantic. It was the kings who wrote in the Bible not to love a man, not Jesus. God acknowledges almost every animal species have gay thoughts and urges. Funny how it doesn't produce any children through 2 gay men want to share their genes. End my misery here, said a faint soul and body, and take my amulets of gold. I seek it no longer. Another said similarly, I earned maximum dollar slowly poisoning my city, my people. I look the other way and thus the blood money I cannot spend. You will spend it better. I think Janus, god of wealth and greed, will trick us. Don't accept any offerings of gold. They came to a boiling gold pit with paths of gold like in a garden, a field of cultivating money trees. Here are those who cannot resist shining gold even in hell, who are nothing without capital and power. They will be lost and fall in again. James breathed frost over the gold pit and cut himself some gold ingots. Here's treasure 101, anyone want an ingot? James, this is cursed capitalist flowing gold, it cannot be worked, like mercury gold it will zip into your brain and hurt you like eternal sin absolution. It will appear as your greatest sin. The Hellspawn fight with golden weapons here, said Priestess. Benefits of working on this plane, they also get insurances by the accountants. They saw a red goblin man pour molten gold into the throat of a man, torturing him. He fell on the ground sideways and sounded like an ingot, immovable. Poor soul, Seth Priestess. She was a priest used to combat, shooing away desecrating Ihenja delinquents and gargoyles, protecting religious resolution and chalices by forgetful priest men. She was dressed warm in white, necklaces of religious protection, staff with blue gem and wings. This was one of the greediest religious French men. He absolved sins based on their income, worked to make the Church of France rich, materialistic. For years the Church grew in power and riches like privilege. He has led a rich life, not a religious one. The goblinman with hooves spoke evil. For years the Church grew in power and riches like privilege. He has led a rich life, not a religious one. The goblinman with hooves spoke evil, but true enough. He played powerful like a politician and made laws unreligious. His power grew for power. The poorest simple man can have the most righteous soul. Spartacus went to try and comfort the soul, but he didn't move. They had to cross a swamp that was mostly black and boiling. Boiling arms reached and grabbed them with the force of obsession. Some skeletal and black skeletons. In the middle of the swamp was rocks with veins of flowing gold poured 15 meters high. Gold flowing like blood, I shall return. James. Here the greedy and powerful sit at the top, but with the sinners at the bottom, said Arnaud. It's still the same. Hell shouldn't be corrupted, it is the most solid in torturing conservatism. Our extra hairy smaller Minotaur and Rhino faced 3 meters muscle monster pondered the swamp, golden armor, pristine jagged sword and spiked mace upsetting. They didn't seem like they minded protecting in routine, the sentinel being with its duty. James swished with speed technique, dodged every slow attack, pushed him back in a swing with palm absolute unit. Parried 4 blows in a combo and then cut the Minotaur from kidney to shoulder. The bull sounded like a demon and went down evil and maybe a hint of privilege. Arnaud was powering up for a one-shot. Brick density, denser than Kanye West. He smashed through the Rhino with his brick. A rupture of power was like metallic errors and one rupture delayed. He might as well gotten hit by a bus. This is full gold armor, thanks Circle of Greed, let's keep this. James. At the end of the swamp the ground flickered red. The dead and boiling came up the swamp, agonizing and slow they obeyed attack. Security Chief Esam, not necessarily streamer, has been alerted of your presence. A hooved human goat with pitchfork, miner's beard, skinny but large belly and curve-horned 3 laps stood and worried with an extra large underbite. You really think you can attack hell? There are rules here, standards, bylaws. You have cut me in for the share at least.
A little bit
He
left
spoke with a lightweight
level.
nerd voice sounding foreign. How much? Said James. 40% to betray Satan, I'm on his good side. Beguiling and awful. No way, said James. It's not a price for everyone. A red gem on his pitchfork emanated red mist as the dead flew like projectiles unto James. Corpse explosion. The bodies exploded splattering blood and liver, kidneys. James had protected himself in elemental spirit, the blood shaman. At least it wasn't horse explosion, said Arnaud. James slashed and executed strikes wise, but the pitchfork could have been made of diamond. James did Stylo's arcane martial arts, kicks, deadly chops, combos and thundering knees breaking his stupid defense intelligently like he was weak. Esam stabbed with strength deserved for nightmares and certainty of hell. James made a 5-inch punch to knock him out, but Esam got up clasping his head sturdy and confused. James cut him 8 times in a white mist and everlasting rays from slicing gleaming tornado. Steroid hurricane. Isam got critically hit and his eyes whitened finally. He fell to the floor painted in blood. Yensid froze the swamp ledges masterfully and farted an ice spear into coming green undead. Okay, that's it, let's go. A pitchfork was thrown into the back of James. It hurt like a gym machine breaking. The security of Isam doesn't give up that easily. Second wind bloodied. Isam conjured another pitchfork with black magic and 2 beside him attacking next to him. Brilliantly, Isam deflected a Colossus hit from James, then another to the left. Isam tanked the hits like he was a superhuman. They clashed like giants until James went. The difference is too big. Goodbye, go down giant. Sheer anger of the gods. James crushed his insides with an implosion punch and broke his armor like church glass. His eyes whitened and he went to his knees, then fell face first. Another golden minotaur awaited them entering the gates to another section. Guards. Rear driving BMW parking, asphyxiate. Yensid started flying around in the air ass first like he was pulled by a rope, then hit the minotaur in the face with his ass robes. The minotaur hit by dim ass Mac parking so bad he instantly died. We have a wizard amongst us, said the hero. Among us. Praised be the heavens, said elf priestess. They had to climb sides of red mountains and slide down rugged mountain foot. They met many monsters with expensive weapons. They actually found diamond rings improving regeneration and sunburn. James had room on his hand thus. They crossed black hellscape with black plants and red-yellow fruits spouting lava. There was a 1 decimeter black bird with a round face that was completely round. They had to cross a volcano, climbing about up to halfway sideways. They had the fields of despair, the infinite grills, heating up hell to sufficient or extra temperatures. They laid in brackets, laid in grids, laid in municipality. There were toiling wildebeest-headed sulky hunchbacks, carrying the tools over their shoulders. This place wasn't fire red, but cooled rock. It was black and steamy, porous paint and black wind. They would carry on until they entered the molten lower levels. The pace was arduous. They could have stared into the center of death. Right, more fields gathering energy from souls agonizing in the spirit and will of a civilization, the direction, like in politics. Chapter, Silence of the Baguettes.
Yeah, no, it starts lagging, playing it very slowly if I don't have it visually. And honestly, I'm too stupid. I need more IQ points. I need like 220 IQ points maybe to actually... Yeah, I'm actually really smart, right? I need more IQ points to actually pay attention all the time while placing the background. It's easier with the other audiobooks, I think. And I know how to make my mates smarter too. Get yourself some lion's mane mushroom, but especially turmeric, ginger, and black pepper together. You should eat those anyway, right? It's very anti-inflammatory and good against cancer.
Chapter, Silence of the Baguettes. Enter Circle of Lust and Accounting. The door had perfect male buttocks you had to open with, real square gym buttocks wide like wide shoulders. Accounting, said Arno. Priestess, accounting is a precise work. They think no one is watching over the boring numbers, but if you get any wrong you go punished to hell. Someone has to keep to a standard. Here the sarcasm about the work fills the halls. Meticulous swarming noise, certainty of precision. A tall, thick goth chick with a large purple wizard's hat and suspicious gigantic breasts came soft-spoken to the party.
That's too late. To be nice.
Hey guys, I'm living too. I got lost with my party, can you help me? This place was not what we thought for our party and the demons keep gaining in power.
Chat's like,
You're sure we did this
see
party.
10,000 kid labs
Ah,
in
no.
these corners.
Ah, how cute. She hugged Arno and kissed him on the cheek. I see through her lies, James thought with a nerd voice.
Well, you know, first it's 1k labs, then it's 2k, then it's 4k, then it's 8k labs, naturally. Actually, it's 10 levels, not 7, right? Oh well.
I see through her lies, James thought with a nerd voice. They came onto a door with a stone face that said, to go further in hell one has to be sacrificed, the weakest link, the cowardly, the lightweight, the extra weight.
But I guess it doesn't make sense.
In the middle stood a 1x2 diameter deep coffee grinder hull with handcrafted black wooden handle. It's basically just a mixer. Drink the weakest link, it's a bloody tradition. One has to be sacrificed, guys. We can't end our quest here. We can't sacrifice anyone, said the priestess. We're gonna talk about this, right? Said Arno. James took the goth chick, walked confidently and threw her head first into the grinder like the lightest javelin. The mixer spun quick, making Italian and high-speed sounds. W-R...
We flushed down some healthy pills with Pepsi Max.
Sometimes, that's how life goes.
I thought it would
It's
sound more
obvious,
funny, actually.
she's a mirage of the circle of lust, said James. Otherwise she would not be interested in us. The grinder seemed to hit bone and made some crunching noises, struggling, speeding up to max afterwards.
Diet Coley.
James, I don't think she was a mirage. Priestess. Oh well, what's another sacrifice, said Arnaud.
CHOly.
Her black high heels flew and hit Arnaud in the face, knocking him to the floor. The group carried on more casually and realistic. A real goth wouldn't mind getting turned into coffee. The grinder raised a bit above the ground and tried adding milk and cream. Damn, said the hole in the wall, we're out of milk again. Some of the party, including James, drank the goth cappuccino to restore vitality. It tasted like sugary depression. He drank like an office collar at work, considering responsibility. Stoneface said, here we see the chamber of cheating, one of the most common regrets, they say. Cheating done for no reason, with handsome celebrities, for money or revenge. For those that waited a short time or forever. Here's one of Satan hell favorites. Those that proclaim to love their wife then plough their goat, cross-eyed outside. They ought to try a succubus. Scottish, AWWH, there you are.
Totally solid magic.
When looking at women, men can consider almost anyone, so it's completely up to the thinking part of the brain to stop you. Your first foe is the hamster of harbingers. Not the hamster of harbingers. It is one of the 7 excellent grade hamsters, the jugular hamster, the hellspawn, said the purple elf. A cute white chubby 1 decimeter hamster, red eyes, with a fluffy fat mane stood small and innocent around the entry. There was a layer of skulls around the hamster. What are we waiting for? Said the hero and approached cleverly, ready to give his best endeavor. Whoosh the hamster.
You know, I never watched that series as a kid, but Shad Farthouse is a great name. It makes you think, it completely stuns you, right? You're like, what? What the fuck?
Whoosh the hamster flew through the air, biting 100 times under his shirt. The hero screamed in panic, trying to punch himself in the gut. Help.
Help.
The hamster could not be hit while under the shirt. I'm going to blow you up with your infinite cheeks.
I'll make that more dramatic.
Dare you be practical. The hamster bit him in the skull. He looked stupid until the hamster blew air with walrus lungs, such his head exploded. Violent and piercing, the explosion was for your ears, like a blood bucket being thrown against the wall or lasagna. The daggered elf came blazing, secondly, reflecting magically with expert elf defensive magic and putting up impact shields. A comfortable magical cocoon, visible at their most strongest part.
Oh, what's happened when I click this?
With maddening steel sound, the hamster was deflected.
Well,
Someone might as well have thrown a flash grenade. The glaives vibrated and the elf was getting scared. I'm not afraid of you. The hamster started a red face of doom black magic and powerfully crushed the elf's glaive. The elf wasn't stronger. Oh my god, I'm so scared, starts crying, it's the end of everything. Like a gunshot, the hamster shot through the shields and without anyone having time to react, decapitated the elf with hamster power. It's a killer hamster. A devoid man killer.
120 construction
Power
at the same time.
Vacuum cleaner. Yensid created a suction and the hamster flew 4 meters, struggling into Yensid's butthole. In the end, the thunk sounded almost like a vacuum cleaner. He resisted in almost a human way. They came upon the plains of harking grief and pointless suffering where there were many prisoners. Priestess. Here lies a cheater known in the history books. She kept cheating voracious for years, undermining his husband's trust. When he found out, she divorced him and took his money he had worked on all his life as a millionaire. He tried suiciding, but it didn't work. He is handicapped and a monster thus. Help me, I'm innocent here. I shall see your judgment fit, said the priestess and imprinted her shoe size in her face slowly, resting on her staff. Her body seemed weak and dissolving a bit, cheek dust fluttered like finality. Help us. James heard a voice through the wall, surprisingly with his sharp unaltered hearing. He punches thus, like there never has been any steroids. 5 armored giant battle rabbits unsealed thus, about 6 meters long, 3 meters tall, quite like the polar. We're raiding hell, come out. I'm Bloodmonger the Unclean. Bloody Mary. Undying Chest Day, Gregor the really immortal, I promise. Are you really immortal? Yes. Unreal Engine Battlemame knee injury, Undertow Jr. Brick Hellforge Enrique. There were also alive prisoners and many beasts. They kept smashing through Hellclay, finding Curiosa, contraptions and citrine. We've been sealed away here and forgotten, lost, too dangerous for hell and earth. You won't regret releasing me from this beastly campaign. How can I assist thee? It was a black belt-robed kung fu man with goatee and twirly moustaches. James wondered just how many things were deep and hidden in hell. He went behind the prisoners undistracted and put his spiritual hand on the wall. He felt something behind the usual rooms, faint in life but clear in wanting to be rescued, like someone's last day's heartbeats and glorious ending. James punched, twice, thrice, through and again, rumbling and excellent devastation. There was a room of a shackled angel, wings bound and black magic manifest. James dispelled and unshackled, thus healed. I have waited here my whole life. I was never supposed to be found, beyond the Hellclayan plains. Those were the odds. I have been here for 1,000 years, tight, coarse and hungry. Ripe for revenge, justice. I have thought of things blazingly, constantly. I have thought of so many things. If I deserved to be found, I would be. The angel flexed his wings. Yet now it will become Satan's fall. Archangel Jophiel. He would speedy wings up out the tomb like a constant speed. The orcs weren't always stupid. You red orcs are going to fight Satan, right? You better shut your mouth or we will fight you. We're getting out of here. I am not so stupid. I regret everything I've done. Deprivation favors the bold. I'm not going to risk dying for Satan, laughed an even redder orc honestly. I used to believe in sacrifice, he said sadly. An even redder orc said, I could fight hell but I'd rather find my wife. The prisoners were here, don't you see, said James. Then she isn't here, but she is alive, I can feel it. Feels like a relationship loving, love understood perfectly. Unto Castle Middlehell with golf course. This is going to be a huge siege. Ah no. Armies of the presumptuous and postponing, said the hero, the reserved.
I know them. I know pretty much everything about getting smarter scientifically. You know that, for example, some people who practice different kind of sports are 4 IQ points smarter than the rest, including other sports people. You know why? Because they're doing aerobic exercising, endurance exercising. We were designed to do it to keep up the pressure. This is good farming EXP, and if we do a farm run, I assume we'll get another level. I'm a 50 bank slot Iron Man. Have you seen my bank? I'll show it next time I go to a star or something. Yeah, I just got here. You can see the flower, actually. That's better. Betyder. Beter.
Armies of the presumptuous and postponing, said the hero, the reserve duty specialists and the back ranks every legion, the imps, the ranged, the javelins. They cast the teleports ushering in men and artillery. There was a castle with drawbridge wide in sections and a little bit of triple wall sealing the only entrance into the next section. It had 38 towers on towers growing bigger in the middle like a castle infestation, completely black castle, gleaming and hidden, 260 meters high eventually. They had to get through. Armies exited the grand drawbridge as the remaining party unleashed portals ushering in their siege. Siege onages with fiery brimstone, black dwarf black trebuchet and ballistas. Even raider cavalry. Unlike in movies, we can pretend the cavalry to be as many as we like. Elven dragon cannon siege. It looks like a dragon's mouths, 3 Chinese flying crows. The ramp unleashed black powder bombs with crow wings. The ramp angle determined the range. And 2 dwarf culverins, anti-artillery, outranges, resists artillery. The enemy had false goatmen, hell-orcs, hellbears, some brown orcs, mercenaries, hell polearm cows, goblins and cruel giant dead white-colored beasts of variety. Catapults made from skeletons spread poison over the walls with giant flaming arrows being fired and devastating hell bombards. A orc said when army is at the gates. Wow, that escalated quickly. The bombards needed to be destroyed. Help. Start. A hell ballista shot at the raiding party, knocking people over despite their defenses, revealed a culverin shot in the middle of their contraption, dismantling it, collapsing it like an armchair. Giant double-glaived in their flesh, beasts lead the charge, savaging thus the ground as elves flipped. They flailed and ravaged. It took Arno buttoning up his black suit and sitting on top, stabbing with his double eternal baguette, a long time before it went down, tanky. The baguette assault cannot be ignored. The cavalry from the raiders swept in the goblins. They had pikes, but they were frozen and shattered, pikes and shields. Like a bulldozer with rocket back, they decimated, the residue was reaching green arms. A black dwarf took out archers standing with fiery catapult shots, they didn't think quick enough. Thus Flying Crow pierced reinforcing archer into the air and exploded into blood confetti. "Let out of the drawbridge so we can fit to fight," said an orange orc. "Write more here." The catapult got fireballed by a kingly dressed skeleton, it collapsed like a souffle. He was opulent, broad and square, crowned greedily, punishingly. Looked like he just died. "I am the king of serenity, indomitable fortress and swamps infinite. I just died." James pelted enemies with throwing weapons like a barbarian, protecting the siege. They came like waves, too bad there isn't a spell James knew for 360 vision. Eventually James had to give this flank of siege as the goatmen swarmed impossibly. The Hell Orcs were bigger and wider, with huge partly ornamental shoulder armor going like black branches, figure plates taller than heads and muscular like a dream. They had a punishing technique that would burn and swell, weaken your exteriors like mines glowing. Hell Nightmares with a fiery cauldron for belly shot faceless bats as ranged weapons, they blasted suffering spells and leached mana and health from the mages and ammunition from archers, unbuttoned your shirt and dropped your pants. "I know a psychic elf that would use her power to drop your pants always," said Arno a lot like James. "It was 6 seconds in between everyone in a room." "That would always be funny," answered James. "I have a very sexy ass." He thought of himself like pivotal and elite, a feeling spectacle, still about his ass, yet unexplored because of mild insecurity. Sexy people are sexy. Winged nightmares could demoralize enemies like looking into a nightmare, made worse by a spirit fighting technique they could manually increase it to seize anyone up like a brain error.
What?
A skinny demon with a mouth like a piranha decimated the raiders. He got the attention from the cavalry, which mercilessly stabbed him with spears and naginators one cavalry at a time. The demon trapped them, getting more injured he could blow air into his extra bones. Everyone around was decimated as the demons spew a circle of thick bone nails. The piranha demons were a problem for every horse, their physical absorption and trap caught masses. That charging demon, Hellporn, taunts you with its flails, but if you can't beat it you're not strong. He will show you how unfair and demonic hell can be, the ultimate test of strength of character when you're out of time, air. There was a parrotmancer shooting parrots from his long sleeves like a machine gun. "Follow me, Beaks of Bereft."
Beaks of
James
Bereft.
managed to say great plumage in it to all incoming parrots. Pit spawns of Vorpal
It's a good band
swords,
name.
stranger promises, burning and with concentrated lava flow
You're
were
singing with
creating
a
the flames.
parrot like Hate Beak.
Don't touch the pit spawn's
Hate
Vorpal
Beak isn't
swords,
great.
it cannot be defended against. They had giant imps that could take massive leaps, without
Yeah,
patience
so,
and would usually be struck back as hard. Evil
Hate Beak is a metal band with a parrot singing.
They had giant imps that could take massive leaps, without patience and would usually be struck back as hard. Evil evolution isn't safe from stupidity. Hammerfiends enter. They were 6 meter
first thing
dead
to say
black
is I'm
and
not a
white
parrot,
four
which is
arms,
kinda
thus that turned
confusing,
into
right?
clubs instead of hands. They spun around and knocked
Apparently
people into the
says it,
ground,
though.
formidable ever stuck. They had winged great helms and gritty dead white muscle, eyeless and with a black birdcage stuck in their head
Parrot
flesh.
denial.
"There shoot the hammer," said James with this sword to a black dwarf. The first ballista shot was blocked, but the second went through its heart. Soon it was going down like a giant glorious. Glorious to be alive.
You know, when I get 90 farming, this is gonna be my best. Holy Hawks is gonna be my best EXP per hour. It's even faster than I think doing a farm run.
Glorious to be alive, alive like a cosmic heart. Yensed with legendary beard was putting everything on fire. With Armageddon going down and a hurricane of fire around him, they died, perished, melted. The hammer fiend smashed through and knocked back randomly. It was ridiculous to fight like someone with 36 swords. The freed angel made work on the bigger enemies, knocking with his 2 holy maces. He hit like he known impact magic and with a god's strength. Weapons missed his holy aura and time seems to move differently, lucky. James thought the armies of hell were formidable. Lots of swords were parried as James fought skirmish. His golem arm and huge shoulder plate blocked, knocked people out and outranged weapons. Time for the dual wield again, katana and S-polearm, just like in his first tournament where he was a wee bodybuilder. Satan was puppeteering the spirit of a death knight, hovering without legs, slashing with 2 swords black as a dream. No one could fight, its slashing was savage, no one could damage it, it was a spirit from hell. Satan laughed with the puppet, he was playing on people's feelings by killing them. Heat up the grills, we have new people coming to hell hither. James went up and parried the puppet, soon it was ferocious like a nightmare doll onto him. They parried right and left thus, busy. There is no cutting a spirit, said a dead mouth. James put his thumb on the katana holster. Unholy strike, Nemesis unsheath speed technique. Everyone close stopped and looked shocked at the mention of the unholy strike. It's magnificent. There's this kind of power going into the hero's siege. Holy shit, I'm out of here. Here, take my spear and machete. The puppet and its katanas were cut. He fell folded like paper and then burnt into small white pearls. Making a dent into James' stamina, he didn't use it twice, not on the hammer fiends plural. Wait guys, let me just put the katana back into the holster again. The surrounding enemies ran away. James and Arno jumped high onto the walls filled with goblin archers and swept clean, jumping into enemies behind the lines he whirlwind and savaged. There was no brute reinforcement coming to this section. They had daggers and rouges. The arbalist was deadly point blank. There's the chains
Nice
to the
farming,
drawbridge.
Evan Brown.
He cut them, and the gate mechanism, he broke it so the gate would
Is that
remain
a
open.
tiny window that appeared down
Yensid
there?
had managed to sneak behind enemy lines, pretending to be an albatross salesman. What flavor? There's no bloody flavor in it, he said to a goblin as he carried on. He carefully put his Ashix to a tower bent over, also filled with strategic enemies, and said, Fart reverb, first factory of baked beans. The flatulence grew and shrunk, exploding and imploding, taking larger pieces of the tower with it each grey growth. The tower, disparage of its foundations, fell slowly. Under the weight, the tower fell into a geometrically measurable shape based on the weight, angle and block size. They are winning the ground battle, close the gate. It's bloody stuck. Watch your knickers. An orc smashed the foundation, making a rubble gate. There was plenty of castle. Just then the tower to the right went down. Barge in, gentlemen, said a raider, move the siege. More bloody confetti explosion. The flying crows were devastating explosives, aimed at the walls, and behind there was no counter. They had to count the casualties and jump from the center. There are such things as perfect weapons in combat. A succubus and a leather female raider were fighting, kicking obscenely. They both got high heels in their eyes. Same time too. 3 humongous hammer fiends exited a corridor. It felt like fighting cheating again. Yensid clenched his butt muscles again and again until inhumane power was stored after 3 minutes. His ass entered a holy state and a humming noise was heard, piercing, similar to transcendence. He still had the hamster as ammunition. He wasn't going to keep it. The movie effects would be slow motion and black and white as Yensid shot the hamster out of his ass like a railgun and critically pierced the 3 hammer fiends, going diagonally through the sides of their bodies. They fell slowly, giantly, arm above and back first and one forwards. When they slammed the ground, you knew the magnificence and unyielding bloodlust. The hamster being shot as a beanbag was finished. He was conscious, but only enough to deny any movement. There was so much power being exerted, it was like the shot of man claiming favors of the gods. Eventually all the enemy artillery was destroyed, with the golden white culverins outranging, slowing, decimating. The volley was like Robin Hood archery. The cannonballs were small and mass of circular gravity. The raiders cheered, ready to steal. The raiders had Natalie Selenium, which liked to just run around and tase people in the neck. A dwarven Tacitet. Yensid had decimated white dead Hammerfiend and was cleansing blood from his face with his fist. Such there was a general, super armored with a 2 meters katana. How are you going to fight yourself out of this, old man? This is where you fail, he growled like in a brutaler song. Yensid had legendary cunning in his eye like a grander wizard. You are not ready for this level of truth, time-traveling expertise. Yensid pulled the general's sword out of his ass. I have already cut you, Yensid said. The general fell down face first. There were swarms of enemies coming of every kind. Yensid was going to have to create a break for his team. Propane form, constipated symphony. He turned into gas and choked everyone into ragdolls. They choked on their strength. Arnaud drank a potion of ridiculous sports. The French would do better, and his baguette formed into a longer-signed baseball bat-shaped gluten gang. With speed and godly power, thus he went from enemy to enemy, knocking him out and far away in home runs. The smack and distance was something to be felt as a sports fan. From above you could see enemies being knocked away, but you could maybe not source it to Arnaud. Unlimited propane, break my foot off in your ass technique. Break. Broken foot Tatsumaki Senpakyaki, like blue spinning kick.
You're British and you're going like, people are so much more, so unenthusiastic in Britland. Sorry, London or England. People are quiet and discerning, you know. We come to America to the eating challenge, everybody is so hype. And then this guy, the tolerance is, you know, this owner going like, if you can eat Philadelphia steak sandwich. Sorry, my brain is working slow there. I fell down the stairs or something. Yeah, unfortunately. But maybe I'll come back tomorrow and be fine. Doing some aerobic exercising. But yeah, and he's like, if you can eat it with a pizza roll around it, you're American enough. You know, you're American. You know. For vague things like nationality, when is somebody, how many do you have to live 1 year instead of 2 years in a country to become like British, or do you have to do something specifically silly, you know, like eat beans on toast 100 times, you know, mushy peas on toast? God forbid. Maybe your ability of the language should determine if you are Swedish or not, or British or not. I don't know. But it's gonna happen over time. You can't learn English as soon as you get here. You're gonna have to take some years, you know. I don't know exactly how it works in Sweden. How much language you can give, how much Swedish language you're taught. If you're an immigrant, most people aren't immigrants. I'm speaking like anti-racist dome, anti-racist stream and stuff, but everyone's probably already figured out that stuff. Or do you have something that really would help it out? You know, maybe you can pay people to use Duolingo. You can encourage people to use Duolingo apps at home, you know. In fact, most people learn Swedish on that app are immigrants.
Broken foot Tatsumaki Senpakyaku, like Ryu spinning kick. When facing bigger enemies, he hit them in the knees. He came upon the baddest hammer fiend. Arno spit and readjusted his groin, then smashed his kneecap like a French wineglass. The feint didn't make a noise but fell to its knees. Then it fiend got hit in the eye by ballista. Arno smashed the fiend's skull like he was aiming to win a series with steroids, but it still got up tough and dumb and started spinning. James powered up his fire fingers for plasma. An undead figured out what he was doing and proclaimed, "Fire resistance, expert fire immunity." James threw one of his bombs, removing 40% and whatever afro hair the undead still had. Damn it, but it's not broke. Penance, shield of deepest hell. The fiend glue yellow-white and sounded like an expensive computer program. Arno said, "If you don't stop making fire shields, Sonny, I'm going to unscrew your skull, shit down your neck and invisible break off my other foot." A classic French delusion, the demon said. "Damn it, alright, that's it," James said, echoing, got the weird feeling channeled. It felt kind of like being electrocuted. Red-white quark glue on plasma lightning spew from his fingertips, with the sound of a surge metallic and completely put through. It's a genius technique. The Hellspawn were shocked and realized they might lose as the Hammerfiend was lit on fire and melted quick like butter. Melted bit for bit where James aimed. Heaven and hell was jealous of such temperature.
You have to drink the fun.
Him going to detonate a frost nova in his ass. Oh wow, he died. Jens had wanted to show off his ultimate moves too and sent his ass into gear second. It would shorten his life and felt like sacrifice you should not cross. An everlasting warning by your body. Unlimited ass power, nervous walls. People had to cover their eyes as the last Hammerfiend melted from the tier 13 ass laser and cried, screamed, melting into the ground like lava. People had to cover their eyes as the last Hammerfiend melted from the tier 13 ass laser and cried, screamed, melted.
It doesn't matter how fast you assimilate, your culture is always a rich culture and tradition. You always carry with you another culture. If, let's say, you stop being Irish and start being Moroccan at age 10, just keep all the benefits of the traditions and culture. Yeah. Share the fun times at parties, like party.
People had to cover their eyes as the last Hammerfiend melted from the tier 13 ass laser and cried, screamed, melting into the ground like lava.
Not only do people, not everybody understand that tolerance is something you should work on to become a better person. You should also, to become a good person, then a better person plus 2. And then you should become like, you should exercise your tolerance to include new things like, I don't know, you should be tolerant, you should exercise it, and then you should It's just kind of exited my mind the whole point. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have some problems with criminals and stalkers. That's why my head is hurt. No, you don't have to guess anymore. Anyway. Bro is standing right there. I shoot him away too.
People had to cover their eyes as the last hammer fiend melted from the Tier 13 AS laser and cried, screamed, melting into the ground like lava. Evil wasn't ready for this. James was surprised modern sci-fi wasn't inspired by this. It was 8 meters wide. In the end it was one arm, hand reaching for help, melting thus. Everything was shaking as the laser seams displaced from Yensid. It was not flatulence made for mortal eyes. It was just one vowel piercing 3 times. You could look, but it does not mean you would understand. Wow, that was fart displacement, said James. Retreat deeper into the castle, were breached. More lesser more redder orc. As an emergency gate dropped from above, the castle was reinforced by spells and visible wizard shields. They regrouped and could not go any further. Use the siege.
2 more %
Bellowed a
done.
raider, legendarily.
That's crazy.
The raiders toiled and meticulously moved to their anguish. Slowing, the siege would speed up. They pulled the trebuchet like a tank, immovable like a mortar. 2 trebuchet loaded with magical ammunition 60
Maybe
seconds
I do
later
a
swung
home
giant.
run.
Slowly it traveled in the air, hungry until it smashed through.
I'm not gonna grow 90 farming by growing potatoes, right? Gonna go and shop some use, I think, with a Y. Just nah, I don't want to do that. Chat, they mean 2 things, right? A nice position, bro. I only have one choice here. Go for fishing rod and worms. This is pretty elite. I can do meanwhile, you know. They could have had come on, brain. Where am I going? Right, that one. Pork piss. I don't feel like I want to change into my strength cape or whatever, you know. But when you're not doing combat, that's where you should all show off your agility level, right? Got a Rancor though, which looks pretty good. How much many mil is that? Only 52 mil. I bought it for more. That's interesting. It's not that much more, you know. I think it might be 64 mil I bought it for, but.
Two trebuchet loaded with magical ammunition 60 seconds later swung giant. Slowly it traveled in the air, hungry until it smashed through, above the gate, then exploded everything in blue nitroglycerin. Revealed, Satan has summoned another spirit. Satan used the power of Baron Samedi, sooty and black. He had a terrible couch-looking suit and top hat with a snake. He sat upon a giant coffin with member of Silver Souls. Don't go into the soul coffin, you will die and never be reincarnated. Raider. Come, into my coffin. Samedi created an incredible 360-degree suction, drawing everyone off their feet and towards. Closest was Demolition Man Black Mark. No, Mark, I won't let you go, said a half-blind assassin from the high heels. She threw herself in and melted into soul smoke and became one with the Silver Souls. AR let me crank and restart my coffin of endless circus. James came threatening, running, ready to strike Nemesis proud. Samedi cut him with whirlwind fate spikes designed to nail your soul to the floor. It was expected to stop him, but James powered through the pain Herolite. Enjoy the view, said Satan laughing as the spirit went up in smoke, turned into pollution. Yensed had found a 9 meters wide and 9 meters tall, huge storage where they had every siege and artillery. There was ammunition and there was black powder, cannonballs. On the other side, goblins were rolling out. They had their goblin siege and it would pebble with piercing. Deadly following, persecution, gassy fat-bottomed aunt. Yensed puts gas like invincible into the storage, from his hands, streams of murk, dark purpose. He turned around, thus farts fiery, the whole building exploded, connected, went up in the sky like New Year's Eve. Sounded like an ammunitions cache, indeed. You need another user of the Nemesis Unholy Unsheath, said a powerful sounding voice, wise and legendary. They're chained all 4 limbs in different positions on a spinning black stone wheel nailed, was God Nemesis. She had a reflection like a stainless steel lamplight for an office desk. Revealed in siege, she had 1 soul burning from candles, 1 soul tickled by feather, sword and dagger impaled hanging and cut 1,000 times, some wounds a decimeter long. There was no blood anymore. For justice, I am God Nemesis, release me and I will conquer thus, to release me you will be judged. Take your bow and blow.
Being a nice dude,
James went brave forth and unnailed her limbs. I shall heal you with healing magic, help me team. I am a god, I will not die from this, or later. She held a sword symmetrical red and black that could turn into a legendary mace and melting finger whip, 4 small whips. The guard went down and protected her hand at 6 fancy instances. It looked like a Nemesis kind of sword. A 3rd red eye opened in her forehead and she judged James thus.
Forehead!
You were perfect, James, in the eye of justice and revenge, she said unexpectedly. You were conscious with ease of the world unfair and how you would receive and deal justice. You have purged yourself for no one watching. You seem to be someone like myself, thus I will not maim, destroy and languish. One should live like we will be judged in the end, learn for an eternal life and in a cool way retribute. James. We are reincarnated forever, said Arnaud. Casually James then said, I think religion can really help a step with this. Very interesting. She had a massive black ponytail, 2 meters, egg face, tall, very wide-shouldered and muscular, arms and shoulders bouldery, large as her head. Crispy grey skin and red eyes. Huge 6-pack. I am not just as blind, I am just colorblind. They spent some time regenerating her wounds, her spirit grew as her aura. Satan will make no more black spirits, she intends to cut. As a god, don't you have to respect Satan and his role? Ah no. Spitefully she said, no, I don't have to, my reign is not limited much like other gods like that. Her large lips were grey 6-cornered stone. As you spit spite I want to kiss your 6-cornered grey lips, Arnaud Frenchly charmed. I kiss my fans. Smaller Arnaud got kissed long and grey while their heads did not align. I like bodybuilders now. They fought little until they came upon a grey courtyard surrounded by deeper castle. A giant ultra-muscular humanoid 4 meters looking vulture stood arching on one leg. Giant beak zigzagging a little bit, it had bodybuilder arms and deathly wings.
Nice.
It was a real bodybuilder. To trade blows and fight it was like fighting a giant. It bit Arnaud and crunched through his thick assassin armor. He had to discount the golden armor. He slapped around like punches, undeniably giant. Many clung and fought the vulture at once, but it was until it started doing hellish impact magic they were really in trouble. James charged his fist going forward crunching with white and black lightning. The vulture met James for the blow fist against fist, but James was an absolute unit. It was a powerful blow both ways, but James broke every arm bone of the vulture. It shrieked still brutal after the fists had collided with the same speed. With one limp arm it still defended, then saw an opportunity to go for James again. The vulture arm shone with lightning. James dodged. He got behind the vulture, gripped its waist and did a Carolyn lift, smashing the head with the ground, then rail-gunned into the chest. The vulture would not go down. He did a steroid hurricane cutting with the katana, slicing 6 times. And bloody it was. The vulture's eyes whitened and it fell on its back finally. Arnaud threw baguettes shaped like flying axes. The enemies fell like getting bit by a cobra. The best throwing axe in the medieval times was from France, the Francisca. What's the hardest you think someone has been slapped by a baguette? Fusion baguette. The skeletal mage broke and he cried in the violence. Oh no, he pulled out the baguette folding chair, said the other mages. They were still considering what would happen to them. Arnaud had managed to get poisoned by corrosive blood saltpeter. Skeletal mages had gathered power to apply toxic personal. Somehow Arnaud had powered through and beaten the crap out of them in a baseball frenzy. You're on a hot streak. Don't run through the poison center and inhale the clouds. You deserve to be poisoned like this, Nemesis said. Now there is a chemist, poison and biological chemistry expert in the castle basement. He might join us or fight us 50-50. Alas, we have no choice, like dying is certain. They snuck around until invisible walls were opened and stairs circular. The castle was black and golden with diagonal torches and a bit more fantasy-like than hell. They found someone in a white hospital-looking room with chemistry sets and experiments genius. It was a huge mustached Cuban 2 meters tall in a light green and white.
Something that's really sad is that Jews have to repopulate after being prosecuted so much. It's really sad if you think about it. It might be like 1,000 years or something.
It was a huge mustached Cuban 2 meters tall in a light green and white Hawaiian shirt with 2.3 meters between. It was a huge mustached Cuban 2 meters tall in a light green and white Hawaiian shirt with 2.3 meters.
Gonna have to make them stop using reproductive means like the Catholics so that they...
It was a huge mustached Cuban 2 meters tall in a light green and white Hawaiian shirt with 2.3 meters between shoulders. He had 4 arms tree-size lodging horizontally next to the shoulders. He was extremely muscular, even more than James, with a chiseled face, neck wider than head.
Gonna have to introduce them to sexy time on the... whatever.
He was extremely muscular, even more than James, with a chiseled face, neck wider than head, narrow lips, smooth, expensive, sleek haircut.
I love this...
Nemesis, Oliveria, we are raiding hell.
Look at this content, like this ultimate Iron Man farming, kinda. This is my bank.
Nemesis, Oliveria, we are raiding hell. There won't be much left of here. It was a very smart thing to say. Surely we will not find an honorable purpose and die for the innocent. An impossibly deep voice said, I'm in, not sh-wing much of his strategy. Arnaud the baguette savant has been poisoned, hence our seeking thus. It was just a job. I like some who appreciate my chemistry genius, legal or not. Satan makes my poisons and cures legal. I gain a fortune if it's sold out of hell. Take Satan's stuff then and sell it as we get out of here, said James. He wanted another member to the eternal fight of Satan. I might, Hellman. He has lost blood, throwing up so he can't swallow, wounds are oozing green and black. He's faint, frenzy, then feeble. Frenzy you say? Oliveria lit another 2 Cuban cigars. What's the 3 cigars for, James? It's a 3-cigar problem. Oliveria smoked like he was afraid of running out. Okay, put this bazaar and hold it into your mouth. I will inject you with antidote 7 pathways, and finally we need something acidic to be traded into his very alkaline body.
Yeah, it really sucks. Like, few religious people are more prosecuted and followed and unfairly treated than the Jews. It's like,
Okay, put this bazoar and hold it into your mouth. I will inject you with antidote 7 pathways, and finally we need something acidic to be traded in.
I was being so, despite being very religious, right? I'm not really, I believe in God spiritually, but I don't really believe in any religion. Um, so I was learning about Judaism, learning the main things and the rituals of Jewish people, just to learn something new, you know?
Okay, put this bazoar and hold it into your mouth. I will inject you with antidote 7 pathways, and finally we need something acidic to be traded into his very alkaline body. Milk will do. He went and got some milk. He spoke like a scientist and an expert, but also like a meat-headed bodybuilder who learned this to increase his pump. His speaking expertly was menacing, just like he was sounding like threatening you. It was curious indeed how all this fitted into his brain. It was deep, like an autistic musician could fit into. 10 minutes later. You can thank me by remembering my chemistry. Don't forget me like you weren't paying attention. There is only one like me thus. There is only one like your biceps, said Arnaud. I think he needs a cigar. Oliveria put a cigar into his mouth like fencing a rapier. Why do you have 4 arms, said James, they look superfluous yet shouldery. I am a top genetic Cuban gym human. Me too, said James, slow and concerned, Jim Placenta. They were silent, looking at each other, James a head taller but Oliveria wider. They helped Oliveria stack and stash important equipment, moving like house renovators, explosive and expensive chemicals and Cuban cigars. Looks like he has had 2 wooden boxes in the back rooms, each with 250 boxes of Cuban cigars each.
Yeah, if I run a few minutes here, they all turn into saplings to the furthest palm, furthest fruit tree. It's 200 Ramja.
Looks like he has had 2 wooden boxes in the back rooms, each with 250 boxes of Cuban cigars each. Imported flavor. James hoped Oliveria would be a team member and fancied someone as compatible. This joke wasn't funny with him. Chapter. Silence of the baguettes, but with a greater accent. Enter castle courtyard, again. Fat armies of dead white beasts with black 2-handed spiked maces, 3 meters tall, they stood hard to kill. Nemesis had a shield that seemed to reflect and heal damage. Her slices were sure and her temperament worrying for doctors. Maybe she ought to try some goji berries. Nothing touched Nemesis. She took their heads like an invincible plague. With her legend sword she had a black powdered musket that also merged with a 1-meter bayonet. Similar could be said for the Angel. The Angel had some ground speed using his wings and fought like he hadn't been weakened or imprisoned. New demons spawned, hulky and ugly, crawling up on the walls and up the bridges. They used every weapon and seemed menacing, intelligent and evil. There's a hidden tech in hell, said a raider. They had a winged fat imp shooting bombs with advanced technology. That's the wings of Leonardo da Vinci. Red, white and grey metallic feathers makes you hover through, not fly. James jumped up 4 meters behind him and carried the imp to the ground with his weight. Then Oliveria grabbed him and killed him with 1 punch. Smash. James put on the wings and they obeyed smartly. Nemesis cut through the last of the horde with an unholy strike. One of the unholy strikes requires wings, said Nemesis seriously. No wonder only one has ever known all of them, Arnaud commented in the distance.
Coconut, you get very
as long as I have magical stamina, I can use fire, rocket, feet, drains my stamina fairly like...
With extensive knowledge about coconut, benefits of coconuts, it's especially good for mental health and dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff like that. It's a very healthy fat indeed, even if it is vegan, but it's only a few vegan sources with cholesterol. So, what that means specifically is that if you have high cholesterol, you might want to avoid coconut fat, but otherwise, very good. And it does help against mental things, but if it has cholesterol, eventually those plaques in the brain will become a problem too. So you need to pair it with something that reduces cholesterol, maybe.
As long as I have magical stamina, I can use fire, rocket, feet, drains my stamina fairly like swimming. Symphony of a Dying Star is the unholy strike of the airborne. You gather enough speed and distance to become something else, something floating seemingly spiritually in unimaginable speed, maybe because the spiritual can't keep up and becomes something chasing. When you reach speeds you thought were impossible for a third time, their fates will change. When you know you know. Aim and hit your targets and destruction will be unleashed like eternal stars colliding in the destruction of everything physical. I will remember all of this. I have a mind and presence for combat like a calm animal, noting everything and keeping for more ambition. Upward James went with fire feet for targets and practice. I got to practice mana limits for this so I can break the speeds. Mr. Oliveria grabbed a grey dead obesity and jumped instantly for a spinning pile driver 15 meters into the air. He landed on the beast's head and it broke his neck into 1,000 pieces.
Pretty much. I guess
I'm going to do some magic I'm not used to, Seth Yensid.
When I was doing allotments and stuff, there's this seed shop in some places, like Draenor. Used to buy some stuff for, like marigolds. But pretty much that has been Pickpocketing Master. I haven't done it for a while now, Pickpocketing Master, Farmers, yeah.
I'm going to do some magic I'm not used to, Seth Yensid, on a white dead demon, Wednesday transform. The demon turned into a frog. I have mana levels, thus for spells this demanding, feels like a chunk. Put it into a cannon, James picked it up. I wee lad, a black dwarf agreed.
It would be cool to have an item that gives us increased inventory space for fish. That makes fishing in remote locations completely viable, right? Something that you earn. It's called a tackle box, right? But I don't think they store fish though, do they already? Oh well.
I wee lad, a black dwarf agreed. They shot the frog into a darkness elemental, just an explosion of guts and blood. It shifted through darkness and the void, but blind it got cut by Nemesis from behind savagely. James thought in the air an impact punch is just a punch.
Oh yes,
if I defy gravity and speed and punch moving my arm while flying, I need to keep it straight. James flew in a circle up and down, gathering speed with G-forces silly to calculate. The fattest 8-meter dead white mace demon knew he was tough, futile with their punches. Why would these enemies be any different? With God Halls granting epic music, James came down devastating, both fists forward. Arno felt too like singing as the destruction of the fattest was the fastest. James slammed down like a lord of space and speed. There was no getting up and there was nothing left. This was not the unholy strike though. From debris and fleeing enemies, James exclaimed, "Look, I kept my arm straight, getting there." Oliveria was the only one that understood. You can keep your arm down and fist to the side of your shoulder too. Your arms won't have to move, just stay still with velocity. Then I have to tank the impact with my arm, like resisting steel. Shoulder tendons are weak, the shoulder isn't straightly melted upon my spine. You're still tanking the same thing with your arms straight. Triceps. Satan's head popped up to mock. Mock not, there is no castle. Nemesis. You think what I have in the depths of the circles is pink chewing gum. Be disheartened, be gloomy, trust your worst day, you bring yourself closer to your doom. I have all your loved ones and the fate of a realm at my mercy. Do you think I can hurt you like this? Said Nemesis. She knew just where to strike from a position of power, threatened like a god. Satan's head disappeared in smoke as Nemesis tried to cut Nemesis. Great-grandfather Shelby, proclaimed James. I will not fight with you, I am useless of fighting at this level anyway. He looked well dressed in black-grey forearmless suit, stripes with handkerchief and golden watch, grey cap and shining grey shoes. Wait, you're in hell, James realized secondly. How did you get here? I am guard over the potions, explosives and ammunitions room, including cannonballs. I inhabit the second circle actually. I find it hard to believe you did anything to deserve hell. Crime. Did your grandmother ever tell you which gang I was in? In Birmingham, the Peaky Blinders. I organized racketeering and robbery. I didn't care for hurting people.
There's many stages in our soul evolution. Let's get spiritual here. I don't have to say it's like it's spiritual, but and the Earth is a tough place, a tough soul choose to learn the experience of being human and the experience of learning things based on your prerequisites and what you can do, and the summarization of who you are and what you can do. Several layers of being able to handle school and life, and you know, like there's several layers to your energy and your productiveness. You put them all together, you get what you can ultimately can do with a life, and that's the learning process. Just like certain animals are very a rabbit is likelier to explore innocence and doing stuff as a herbivore, you know. Yes, there's a point in being a hamster as well, but it's probably not that advanced. I dare to say it. People have been hamsters at one point, probably when they weren't humans. We reincarnate again and again, infinitely almost, isn't it? Just move on to higher evolutionary beings, isn't it scary? I got all this wisdom, spiritual wisdom and knowledge. Usually you're able to handle whatever that can come at you in your life. Just like time is relative, right?
Crime. Did your grandmother ever tell you which gang I was in? In Birmingham, the Peaky Blinders. I organized racketeering and robbery. I didn't care for hurting people though. My heart wasn't always in crime, but one thing led to another. Sometimes you have to whack people just to maintain things. The things I did to escape justice, in defense, in survival. Yet I ended up here. Think I paid enough in eternal labor, forgiveness and boiling torture. They really turn up the temperature for those that like hot baths. I heard you were a different man. There isn't much to choose from in Birmingham. I realize now I have ADHD and can't study. In my time you were just scolded. Is it still a shithole? So the people say, especially those in Birmingham. Amen. Shelby lit a cigarette. Nice to meet you again. Most of the time I was just a child buzzing about exciting things. You meant a lot to me, James lad. Everything seemed to be going right. Until my passing, I had it coming. Too much whiskey, no sleep and excitement combined with an old heart. Alcohol as a poison can kill you even now when combined with the wrong things. If you have low cholesterol you tend to survive a heart attack. I did the bloody things right, but now Satan won't let me leave, only lets a few people off randomly for show it seems. There seemed to be privilege, favoritism, a purpose to the people going back. Another deed, down with the hell botchery. Here's the key to the potions and ammunition room. Sell the bloody gold bullets, there's no monsters there. Lit a fire and blow the place up. Shelby left coolly with his hands in his suit pants. I will investigate, said Arnaud. Boom goes the dynamite. We might need more dynamite deeper in hell, said Oliveria. We might need to excavate Greek clay-colored pillars of Colossus and Horizont, said Nemesis. A path to civilization's secrets and forget. Their minds went numb and forgetful, charmed and unnatural like sin as they went through the castle victorious. There were angel-looking women guiding him, tiny skirts, professional businesswomen too with sexy ties, red-dressed hourglass figures in the middle of the party. It felt so light following him back into the castle. Let's do that too. The hooves clacked like horses on the stone. Hooves. James realized the hooves didn't fit in. James wrenched out 50% of their control with his sharp mind, huge sexy chest muscles expanding with closed fists, screamed, dangerous thoughts, SUCCUBUSES. He slammed his pommel into the ground, knocking everyone off their feet. He figured out to also splash everyone with water magic circular. No, we're virgins, said a soft voice luring again. Jens had pulled up a sheet of ice so they wouldn't charm off the nearby cliff. Be gone, thought. You can't take my virginity, because I never lose. Raider. One raider still tried to kiss, but then got his tongue cut off, one dagger down his mouth and one in his throat. He was dying, but he managed to hit a succubus with his frying pan so hard she turned unconscious. The other succubus got the idea, and started firing fire waves from their palms. I can't help I'm horned and hoofed, I'm beautiful. James and Nemesis did such tornadoes of katanas. Succubuses were flying like pigeons in the sky. The succubus fled still firing. Arnaud strategically hurt them with words. You are as stubborn as a goat. You can't say that. You have climbing skills like goat. Thank you. Then came a frying pan.
Oh, nice.
One
That's
pink
much faster
succubus
than...
held her surrendering hands high. I actually want out of here. Please, Satan won't let me on procedures outside of hell anymore. She had curly horns of 2 laps, mostly naked, tattooed and decorated upper body with many large piercings of large glamour. She was...
I realize there have been several very good people in history, so that feels good. Now that I carry on, and it's not all in vain, right? Got
She was streamlined and her belly pointed, gleaming slightly outwards. If your stomach actually goes in, you are crazy. Sabrina liked to cheekily contemplate and comment her evil brethren, being a succubus like agreeing to evil office workers, but after this work mishap she has had enough. I will take this opportunity to go. Say that again, Nemesis echoed darkly, turned psychic gleaming with her red third eye. I want out of here.
One way, for example, if I look at scripts and inventions, or the text from past lives, it kind of merges into this is me. It kind of goes in a place where I remember. It kind of goes like mixing two consciousnesses. Oh shit, I do this now, right now too as well.
I want out of here. She's telling the truth, we can still handle one succubus anyway. Look at these sinners, said succubus Sabrina. They chose lust where they should have chosen reason, and now they are always ugly, cannot intercourse, and tormented. They will still ever chase, not ever fetch the stick. I won't mislead you into a trap, but here is the key to Satan's personal pantry, delicacies best of the world, indulgence in the best drink, food and smoke. Collected for himself and replenished where he can. She held a golden key with hollow triangle and a portkey of crystal clear ocean, water and waves splashed around a tiny beach. I shall turn this key and prospect. James. Follow me. Enter rooms of 1,000,000 shelves, artifacts containing forgetful mirrors and baubles of insane whispers, permanently getting drunk horns. The key doesn't unlock anything unless you're right proper lost, cannot be found, under 10,000 kilos of weight, but you can still move at walking speed. They finally got the end of the room, into an opulent gold and black corridor, and then into a large kitchen and pantry, 2 huge wooden tables in 2 rooms besides.
You can really look for proof that you've been somebody in history, and that really works,
They finally got the end of the room, into an opulent gold and black corridor, and then into a large kitchen and pantry, 2 huge wooden tables in 2 rooms besides.
Oh no.
I help the few who need the pantry, she said mischievously. There's Ouroboros haggis pie and spirit, said Arnaud competitively. I dare you to eat the haggis, James. Tonight we dine in hell, said James in Scottish. Succubus Sabrina helped them serve and explain.
Tonight we
You
dine
guys
in
are super
hell.
powerful, right? We're getting
going
out.
to heaven.
She had her instincts to languish and maim, sunder, but calmed them. Sabrina is ESFP personality here, like lots of succubus.
Being also heaven is something that we experience on earth while being alive, as a kind of relief place to be, like an energy. Maybe I should stop there if it's too much.
You guys are super powerful, right? We're getting out. She had her instincts to languish and maim, sunder, but calmed them. Sabrina is ESFP personality here, like lots of succubus. I can 2 unholy strikes and flex stalwart, indomitable. James. I have beaten every large animal with a baguette. Arnaud. I am the best god for action and ploy. Nemesis. There was beer sausage from Germany and Hungary named crispy jalapeno, chili sundae, Westerbottom cheese 95% beef, horse sausage with truffle, boar and juniper berry. German hunter sausage, wild mix, and black garlic sausage. There were small kegs of the most expensive French wine, Chateau Mouton, Margaux and Montrachet. Irish whiskey, Ashford Castle and Estate. There seems to be the Devil's Orchard, and his sugar peaches, next to the saloon-like doors. This whiskey tastes like burning oak, said Arnaud. That's how the best whiskey tastes like. Whiskey proves how little people can drink to exercise, savor taste. Let me try. They passed it around, happy to spoil someone evil like that. This wine isn't surly, it tastes like expensive juice. Surly Raider. This is why I like red wine, drank like she had an eternal liver, maybe. Nemesis. Red wine drunk is the worst drunk. Raider. 10,000 euro sake. They coughed, burned and felt elevated woodily around the table. My grandfather drowned in expensive sake. Raider. Unpoison me Yensid, so I can drink thus more. I know an unpoisoning spell. He teleported a golden purple spellbook, pulled it from an invisible library. Undo mistakes from quests and qualms, release my confusion fusion. Look, a rare 50% alcohol beer, poison ivy. Raider. Pickled gremlin toe alcohol. That curls my toes. With the sausage they paired Wizards Misspelling, University Exam XL Pint Edition. You only live once, Heartstopper gluten and sugar-free and Indian Cobra, which is just a straight-up good beer. Satan appeared larger and more demon than a spirit, in a spiritual vortex. Esam, my first legionary, will come and flush you out. I will not show myself and fall for this. Great stuff. Have any more? Said James mouthful. I would like a whole salted salmon. You will pay for this. Satan pointed a shadowy finger to the pink succubus. James realized his mistake and threw himself in front of Sabrina. Satan sent a black orb with a hurricane of darkness. The orb tortured James and was hard holding onto. He held on, weakening until Satan puffed into diamond dust at Nemesis, unholstering her sword. No one has done something nice for me, they never do. Goblins have low EQ, said Sabrina sulky. You were born here, implored Arno, mind blank like a canvas. Succubus are born demons in hell, fairly evil, punished between beguiling behex, can reflect some physical attacks, control the mind. Frequent tax evasionists, they really have a problem with this. That's so evil. Well, that could be like worse, said Arno, considering worse brutality because of insanity. There's many countries who lose 15% of their income because of tax evasionists. The world is owned by the 100 largest corporations, and the fate of the environment. She opened a cabinet with cigars and pipes. There was spiteful snakeweed, lethal lava land leaf, and gourdweed vintage. They distributed pipes and smoke. This will replenish your mana, said Sabrina, mostly catching Yensid's wizard ear. Huffing and puffing silence. We need some holy gourdweed. Wait, did you say holy gourdweed? Said Yensid. Yensid bent over and farted out 50 leaves, and they quickly started swirling in the air like peace, to 2 meters up, then down like nature. See, that one is holy gourdweed. Yensid's ass is a rabbit hole of contradictions, contrarianism, abstraction, paradoxical dissonance, said James. Yensid being a wizard, his mana was restored like adrenaline. I don't fully get this spiteful snakeweed, I want some more though. Blue Mountain, the best cigars in the world, made by elves without manners and...
It's a pretty good chat in this FC. If you ask if there's any stars, they tell you you're a star.
Blue Mountain, the best cigars in the world, made by elves without manners and debt. Raider. Feels like I'm pulling down roast beef in my lungs. James. This coffee tastes like expensive chocolate and Brazil nuts. Angel. Let's try every coffee. James. Look, coffee candy you put under your lip. You look like a cat.
Right, anyway.
I have time. I will make the time. Raider. James and Succubus sat on a royal green and gold laying couch and relaxed. James stretched and skinny Succubus sat like a princess on his meaty legs. She pulled up into a fetal position, mostly on James' chest. He hugged her and they healed each other in silence. This coffee is almost as aromatic as perfume. It's basically clawing out of the mug. Raiders. That tastes too burnt for me. Raiders. If you just focus on the burnt, you're not gonna like Italian coffee. Raiders. I'm going to put some bourbon in my bourbon coffee. Raiders.
There's stupid people of every personality type, even thinkers, right? And they can do a very good job of certain things anyway, like interviewing and asking big questions, and if you're equipped with thinker and analyst tools, even if you're stupid, you can still do good research and be pretty sure that what your research is true. If it's worth mentioning, they have researched it, right? Like Jeremy Clarkson from bottom gear or medium gear or top gear. No offense, but the reason he cares about cars is because he's so stupid, right? 85 IQ maybe. I know he has, and we don't always agree. We agree on some things. I want to know what the car says about you, he says. I don't understand how they work, but I want to know. He's made a pretty damn good farming. 5 seasons of Clarkson's farm on CRE. It was supposed to be very good. And it was Beer Meets Food guy who actually ate at his farm, the restaurant. And he's ate the whole menu, right? This is the guy who goes like, right, that's too bad. Anyway, he's a pretty speedy bloke. It's great at shouting at Hammond too. It's a pretty big, like, putting two things very far away together to ask, what does the card say about you? Typical for an TP, right? Undeniable, irrefutable. Unirrefutable. Very un. Oh well, I think I'm back to farming, honestly. That's what I want to do.
I'm going to put some bourbon in my bourbon coffee. Raiders. Satan had some seriously smelly cheeses. Spanish hard cheese, Gouda and black Swedish monk's cheese. I bet those Swedish monks commit a lot of sins for their black cheese. James felt truly happy as he tried every cheese. Free exquisite cheese, thus he tried haggis with sprinkling cheese. Earthy flavors can be pristine. They have baguette, no, said James like he whispered a secret language. I don't like just baguettes, exquisite cheese tastes more expensive on baguettes. Give me some fried eggs, procured ham, or beef patties. Beef doesn't taste that much. How do you solve this problem, culinary? No. It still has its place, it's unique. Like anchovies, you can bring the flavor from something else like fat. Arnaud hoped this would be enough explanation. Most of them skip the vodka and high-spirited drinks, being reasonable in gluttony. The Cuban taste is the flavors of the sea. In a kitchen I feel like a mother, don't tell anyone. Oliveira enjoyed himself in too small equipment. Soon he had made a lobster, langoustine, king crab paella with shallots, perfect rice. King-size serving. This lobster is good. Obviously. Try it with some blue cheese. EEHUEG, no. No one liked the blue Stilton, expensive as it was. They passed it around like a trowel. Drunk Arnaud and raiders started fighting with baguettes. Let this be the hour in which we cross baguettes, said an honorable knight, Pius the Presumptuous. Bring it here, I'll show them, poser unlappen, tumor dans les pommes. No one could beat his baguette power, although shaky and insane. Arnaud and a raider put sauce pots on their heads, intimidated in a circle and then rammed each other as hard as possible. I will send your spine into another dimension. Your baguette has reached its length, the time is up thus, said a mercenary raider. YEARG, they ran like rams and collided shoulder to shoulder, both forgot to time the swing. On the floor the raider laid, comfortable in alcohol percent. Get up, I'm not done with you. They charged again. Clash. Arnaud had cut through his opponent's baguette and his shirt. The mercenary bobber Sven fell defeated white-eyed down on his knees.
The equation for the logs that you burn in the fire making, the speed between the bank and the campfire, isn't just how long it takes to go from the bank to the fire, but also how long it takes to get there. So this is further away from some other places, but I think I will should save time so long as I do it for long enough. Doesn't work actually, never mind. How about this one? That fucking works. Do you wanna see my labs? This used to be 1,000, 4,000, that was 9.6 thousand for 99 agility, right? Wilderness agility 3,000, chase and basic 600, yeah, ended up at 50 levels. There was challenge accounts and stuff. I may say, so you mind if I tell you that? This used to be an island slot only account. And when I de-ironed it, just to play it on like my main, like a main rune, so I was like, yeah, I gotta get 99 agility again, you know. I have a main Nice. It's a funny thing to type. We should type them more often to be a sillier person, you know. Hey, don't do anything silly. I don't know what that means. Who it is. It's not chat. It's not chat though.
Arnaud had cut through his opponent's baguette and his shirt. The mercenary bothered Sven fell defeated white-eyed down on his knees.
More than a magic login EXP.
We need more baguettes. Until we cross baguettes again. There is no victory against Felix Arnaud Sauvage. I cannot win, I mean I cannot lose. Mr. Forearms Oliveria legendarily picked up the last baguette silently. I'll just say your baguette complacency, arrogance will be your undoing, his impossibly deep voice thus. Arnaud combed his hair, both took a double grip on the baguettes.
I'm sorry if I talked about
Bloodlust more like baguette lust, said a observing piercing raider, content of spectating and not acting. RGH, they sped like jousting horses. The horses were proud and fierce. It sounded like two metal beams being hit as Arnaud and Oliveria crossed baguettes. Both were covered in fighting spirit, absolute unit. Oliveria was stronger, but Arnaud had the silver offensive assassin absolute unit technique. Baguettes shaked under the pressure as they used their powers.
I care about my fire making level in this game because Winter Dot, going all the way to 99, using Winter Dot and stuff.
Baguettes shaked under the pressure as they used their powers. Power baguette. Ancient baguette tech, Cuban beggar, low man's lyric. The clashing brought spheres of power. It knocked both of them to the opposite ends of the room and leveled the room into soot and fire. Satan would be upset. Arnaud was confident, focused and got up relentlessly. Paris baguette. Mr. Oliveria flexed absolutely unit, chess her indomitable triple outlift. Arnaud missed his target through being swept by drunk winds out the window. Wow, someone got up on the wrong side of the bed today, sniff. Raider. Yeah, should have closed the window. James. More games, people. Bet on who do you think will arm wrestle. Me and Oliveria, said James. Arnaud jumped into the window back. I bet 1 silver ingot. They bet evenly between them. Oliveria was wider and had more muscle. Oliveria drank a safety grog, swallowed like he was parched from his throat a murderer. Go. In 5 seconds they upped the power even more. Both seats broke, Oliva's shorts caught on fire, table got dense and the arms swung to Oliveria's favor. He was strong like a Tyrannosaurus good, rare ancient strength. James resisted at lowest point, bending his hand. But James had better technique. With a finger on the table he pulled his upper body to the left and backwards. Oliveria seemed unbalanced and he slammed his hand into the table, having his fist close to his chest, bending over. I understand your technique, Oliveria said analyzingly. Lads, you are gonna be drunk and hangover forever. No more. You get impaired because of what the alcohol does to your vascular organs. Take this Oliveria grog fix. He picked up some jars with pills. Everyone gathered around. A raider got goat ears. Look what I found, said Arnaud. Finest Spanish hard Turin nougat. I don't like the soft Turin, it tastes like oversweet. I think this one will be perfect, James. The Turin went fast. They tried nougat with almonds, walnuts, cashews, dried berries and whiskey. You know this is worth a lot, even if it doesn't sell as much as gold, said James with a kind of sorrow in his voice. I shall stash it next to the gold. Raid the pantry, raiders. You're worth a lot in my book for this horned lass, said James. You showed us food. James' voice was loving and mesmerized, looking in the distance. I wanted to taste these things out of reach too. We are always tempted by the privilege, said the succubus cutely. She kissed him long on the cheek. I just hope we don't face the clown. Enter labyrinth of considerable, doubting, generous agony. We're still in the circle of lust, gentlemen, said James intelligently. So what is going to happen? We're going to be drawn towards agony and danger through lust. At 5 entrances into the labyrinth stood 20 succubus waiting to sin an incorrect declaration. Greeting, gentlemen, said a gorgeous half-demon. Welcome to the labyrinth. You can see minus the Minotaur, of course. He might have some relatives. Take some of us with you to guide you through the right way. Sabrina whispered sexily to James. I don't think we can trust a single one. It's not about using their knowledge. Follow me, I know bits and pieces. James went to the least attractive succubus. What do you say? With speech impediment she said, furthest right. Many succubus seemed interested in following them, like with obsessive movement. Do you know what might fare in that tunnel? They said. Jens had made an ice wall and they slid down and away. They came upon 3 ways, one looking swampy, one thorny and one blazing. The thorny one only hurts you a little bit. Take that one, said Sabrina. Is it the right way? Said a raider with an orange Viking beard. Most of them cross paths again in the middle. The raiders changed armor and used spells against the thorny hedges. I'll jump and see our route, said Arnaud. He jumped and hit a magical roof enough to break his neck. That's not gonna work, and don't disrespect the gardener of all these hedges. James used his psychic powers to sense, plotting succubus behind them, hot sauce and hot and cold routes ahead. Now what way? Some succubus flew and landed next to them. They were looking angel-like, dreamy of your consciousness. Take these two routes, both are fine. Come this way and we might include you in our sexy maximum mattress. The party was getting afflicted and lightheaded like fate. Pink succubus Seth. It's true there might be some sexy time, but they will execute you in a cannon afterwards. Back off sexy people, said James. We know your mirage. Do you think we're going to break theatrics? One said honestly. You have a betrayer amongst your ranks, how ironic. Once again James' words made people directly attack Sabrina. Arnaud deflected immolation strikes and magic with his baguette Kita shield. James stomped the ground with impact magic, pulling the succubus off their feet. Jens had froze them with butt magic thus. 1,000 refrigerators filled with Cerveza crystal. I don't remember this well, said Sabrina. Stay thorny maybe. And so they did. They found a burning soul, Alexandria. This is a soul that did everything right in her religion and ways of culture, but she wanted someone else. She cheated on whom she knew could be turned. She never had control over her lust like curious ideas, and kept rolling over her cat. The cat made sure you knew. You can join our raid and maybe we can find a way out for you. Let me guess Satan won't let you out. I cannot stop my longing I think. I am hopeless, but now I am grey and clay-colored, a zombie, of decay, weakness, office energy vampires. Yeah, this isn't worthy of hell, said Arnaud, we shall heal you. I haven't felt like this in 40 years. Of course you can control yourself, said James, some people think they can't. Look, press this lightning rod, it will zap you to your senses whenever you need it. Can you punish yourself when you need to? Of course, she said solemnly. Then you can control yourself. Punishment looked easy for you. Too much self-punishment means your worth is more. Never lower your worth. Being healed, she turned into a graceful white dressed woman, braided brunette looking Greek, feminine like walls closing in an ancient. I escaped the wrath of my sister right before I died, said Alexandria. I regret it. What do you think she is lying about, said Arnaud to James cleverly. They all lie. A woman like her, revenge in relationships maybe, they play an advanced game. She was an ancient wise soul reincarnated almost maximum times. Later upon Thorny Exit and Fiery Coast. A male succubus. I exist for women and gay joyful men. Satan plows not like God. He looked like Chernobog, 2 horns going up then sharp backwards, grey, dark red and black colored skin in different layers. He was sexy and logically square. The muscles were more like layered steel, almost forged into a weapon. 2% body fat, so every one of his rather medium muscles were grainy and gritty. He was sleek with large legs and 3 times 1 decimeter clawed feet and 1 heel back, like a lizard. You could not help us and want to leave hell. You can buy me for a prize, he said coldly and logically. I will tell you the correct route next maybe. Here's some thick cigars, Turin nougat and cheese from Satan's own personal pantry. And a not very heavy gold ingot, seduced James. Go left, he said. Where does the coast lead? If you have a sturdy enough boat to a land beyond death, time, responsibility, another plane. The left route turned right and they saw a lustful succubus charming the pants off of a tortured soul. This gang criminal did more than one thing illegal, said the succubus. He relied on fear to get where he wanted, including here. This man will do a righteous deed but take revenge when someone corners him. He only understands punishment as he dealt for snitchers. The man did not react to them in his evil simple world. In truth, he only saw snitchers. You know what? Carry on, said Arnaud. I have had more than my fill of this. We're not going to take everyone on this hell longboat. James enjoyed playing along. Take this Turin nougat, you didn't see us. I can feel the exit from here, said James spiritually, but it need be complicated to go ever straight. Let's test the labyrinth, said Arnaud and twacked with his baguette. I have stored my farts in my small intestines for years for a moment like this. Sabrina threw up in her mouth. Some leaked across her hand. Are you sure you can do this? Said James. This ancient butt magic used to preserve power for when you get old or sick. Archean ass of Anglian. The fart made an earthquake with one
Kion
vowel.
Evangelion.
Rocks started levitating around, everyone fell except Farno. The one vowel was met with another fart. Wisdom of old and power of youthful modern. Unveil the cosmic truth, unleash. With the power of an atomic bomb, Yensid leveled the labyrinth about 90% in the direction James showed. The ass-shredding fart was so powerful he felt fate guiding him, just the right angle. It echoed in every wall and valley and awoke the gods above sleepy. Minus the Minotaur had turned the corner, his head exploded like C4 and he fell on his knees forwards. Raid boss down, said Yensid. Above the awoken gods Ullr, Tyr and Thor debated which were manliest. I am fearless, said groggy Tyr. I am a hunter, said Ullr. He had 2 crows, one of that would tell you about your past, one that would tell you about your future. I am stronger than you without my bracelets and power belt of stubble legends. Thor. Now to climb over rubble in a straight direction. It smelled like garlic and yeast. Wow, it feels so nice to be gas-free after 20 years. Sabrina threw up and fainted as an empath. James caught her before she hit the ground. Arno threw up because Sabrina threw up. I learned some butt magic, Stefan said James conversationally. Might pick up more, he said, just like he wouldn't mind fate taking him any path on his shore. Intelligent audacity. Ah, that is good, said Yensid. Nobody expects it. A long silence, another direction you can attack with. He stroked his wizard's beard. They saw interesting amounts of thorns, ivy, coal and bronze, ice hell and fire climbing over the labyrinth. Everyone that had been caught in the 90-degree blast had died. Some bodies stood feet left. There seemed to be an agility course over lava they had demolished. At the end of the labyrinth. You will not cheat, you won't get out of here in the first place. A giant, 7 meters high, ran towards them with grey crispy skin and a skinny build. It was Cleopatra, a lustful sinner. She still looked royal, with white lightweight clothes, golden ornaments and details, jewelry obvious and large. Maybe she wasn't just a prisoner of sin here. She wore a crown 3 times wider than her head of gold, horns, flags and leather. It was small at the back and front, almost like a pair of horns. She came and wiped the ground with her arms. It was a simple technique, but the crowd flew like specks. She couldn't hit James, he was a unit, but then she ferociously thought to grab him off the ground. He was not as heavy. With speed technique, the golem arm extended on a chain all the way to her face. What an impact. It sounded like a gunshot and hit like a mantis shrimp. Mantis shrimp is a kind of boxing shrimp unique for its vision, 250 colors and punches so fast and strong, they lit the surrounding water on fire at 300 kmph. It made Cleopatra flip in the air 1 volt and landed on her foot, 1 knee. Fiery, she went for James again swiftly, but James picked up her feet. They were not going anywhere. She pulled back, but James excavated the ground with his strength. He pushed her foot left, which threw her off balance and almost fell. Recovered with her other foot, James pulled back like a god and Cleopatra was pulled down her on butt. Together James and Arno hit her in the face. Paris Baguette. Kiloton punch. James grows bigger as he is filled with retribution. Her feet flew high in the air from action and her face was dusted. Why do you have this cursed form, O goddess? Arno. I am eternally cursed for my sins and deals, but my blood is royal like blue. But don't forget my body is a weapon unique from power and input. She got up like a dancer and wheel kicked everyone. If you face me you will be broken, said James, give up. I don't think so. You think I will bow before you? I fear not the power of man. Slave driver, flashy execution. She was going to kick down James in the ground. No goddamn slave, thought James with aura of retribution. Arsekicker series, Godkiller. Cleopatra reacted upon the name instinctively, but did not change attack. She is fury like the gods of the sea. Quickly hitting foot to fist, it was decided. Cleopatra, like getting hit by a 50 by 50 meter fist, flew into the horizon. The punch tore reality white like puzzles not fitting together, left the air ablaze in a circle and the surrounding rock landscape sooty. There were moments where their powers just measured together. Worrisome, the punch seems to break time and space a bit, cracks in the fabric, you could look into cosmos. Even God, said Oliveria.
What?
I felt power like nothing human, said James. I feel a strange wind blowing, said Sabrina. It's so foul I feel the end of everything fair. When they looked they didn't see him at first, the clown. Do you want to hear a funny noise? He said, concerned with insanity. He's gonna torture you in a choking headlock, said Sabrina faintly to James. NNNNNNNNEIGH. Watch the neck scream, twist and he die. The clown was dressed expensively like an aristocrat, white suit. Behind his metal mask that was wounded and bloody was a red clown, hair sticking out twice like a baguette. He was so concerned with his imaginary world he didn't consider them targets. "Can we bribe you? You didn't see us," said James confidently, but it was surprisingly hard. James' instincts now told him of an impossibly extreme enemy. He had to find his backbone, yet at the same time it told him his back might be broken. "No, you will not find yourself deeper in hell. I know who you are." He didn't though. He summoned from the hell floor a grey signpost with an exclamation mark on it and started twisting around insane, waiting for something that would never come. James approached ready to fight someone he realized now would be one of his most powerful adversaries. Fate told of him of danger, timelines of death and brilliant success. "If you stick to darkness and linger, you will die." The clown sprinted with feet standing still and tracked so hard with the signpost James flew 2,000 meters per second back, he disappeared. He went through impressionable rock and buildings like a cannonball, crushing the districts until he gathered his inertia. James felt strange as he regained his perception. He used healing technique used to heal broken bones. It wasn't effective enough. He used a healing mana restoring pink bottle he had from Dragon's Nest and felt strange, uneven, fine. Flew of fiery feet back as quickly as he could. Arnaud unleashed his cross baguette like it was equally dangerous. Another hit from the clown blocked by the baguette felt wild, but Arnaud was knocked back 4 meters, sliding on his feet, then unbalanced despite sacrificing his surroundings, fell. The ultra-powerful baguette could defend the clown's offense. The clown was blocked by the cross baguette, but the blow was unreal. A white-brown church castle with 3 towers erect from the ground knocked Arnaud considerably off. Sabrina started messing around with her succubus mind powers. It was very effective. Master Confusion expertise, Bard's Shitty Symphony. The clown of unlimited partying started acting strange if he didn't before and started clawing his head. "Party, put your fingers in your ears," Jens had said. Fire in the hole and farted the clown's eardrums out, but it seems the clown wasn't listening. The C4-like explosion knocked him to the ground, but as we can see it looked like he was standing up as he was on the ground, twisting. The incapacitating by the enemy made Jensad charge up his ass. Sonic boom. Jensad came squatting ass first, knocking him over and bruised. Jensad came unexpectedly with a twice as strong, knocking over, power. Sonic boom, sheer force.
I'm
"You're already dead,"
fire.
he pointed to the wizard.
Good tech.
Sheer force like shearing sheep. Jensad dodged a charging signpost strike that seemed to tear up everything around it, very skillfully indeed, and charged powers sucking in the surroundings of energy and fire, thus in his ass like a black hole. Everything turned into silence for a second as the great suction into Jensad stopped. The signpost shattered violently. As a result, ARRHHHGTH, in his hands with tier 13 ridiculous magic tier, and a part of his head seemed ruined, sucked and destroyed, broken forever, yet he would try to live with it. "There is only one timeless weapon like that," said the clown. The clown pulled out his claws, a 3-claw-like katana. He could block with his katas, and he could slash. James came back soaring and went for a kick into Koi clawing clownary. The clown didn't move and maybe took damage, but he acted like nothing happened. The clown terrorized the party with a flurry of claws and teleports. They were all grievously bloody and cut soon. The mist of blood hit the ground like a cough. "Face me, you ugly fucking clown. What did you say about the wound in my head?" Thus clown was aggravated. James picked up his Maestar Naginata fresh of any blood and started intimidating in the air. The flurry of claws like by a puppeteered ragdoll was met by James poking and deflecting. It was slightly too fast for his cat-like still reflexes to fight. Absolute unit, chest of Arnold Schwarzenegger. James turned Onyx black for 2 seconds as the clown clawed his chest, then went, Arabesque lightweight punch. The punch clearly made a deafening impact for a second as the clown just tanked the attack. He lost his voice and gacked, spitting blood on one knee. The clown was lost. His armor fell slowly, broken. It revealed blackness and cosmos. You could see Neptunus. This was an entity not understood by degrees of Davenport and scholars' scrutiny. The clown took his time recovering from the punch, but then unfortunately started twitching and doing erratic bending of body parts. James' instincts flared. Like the howl of the insane moon, his enemy was several times stronger and more erratic now, the perfect time and orbiting fierceness. IAARGH, the clown had summoned a hell train and had ran over James faster than he could react. Tears in the fabric of time and space-time revealed impossible. James flexed. Absolute unit, crystalline ignotus. As the train came again, James blocked Indomitable and then countered through the train. Like the punch had spear each he punched through, crunched through metal with almost unlimited power, and the clown. The clown laid on the ground unconscious. "How do we destroy an enemy like this?" said Arnaud. "With explosives." They loaded him full with dynamite and went 50 meters away before exploding. The weakened clown split mostly head from torso and laid across the hellscape. He defied death broken and bloody, laying on the ground like a sum of a fight. He was personalized despite pieces, until he realized and admitted he was dead himself. Down into Circle 5. Treachery, betrayal and murder, violence on weekdays, home theater systems. This is the place you know for people who buy the most expensive video, audio systems and only watch football. Russell Crowe is gonna beat you up. The fairest treated here are treacherous of country and regimen, not betraying friends and family. For those thrones were just a game and politics just a way to murder. They are constantly in rigged games where they will be betrayed, no matter how they think strategically and gain favor, they melt and torture and die just to relive the thing again for every life they took. Some here are responsible for 100,000 deaths and will be here for basically eternity. They can only know one death ahead what their fate is. I guess if it's maybe death over one last death, they would figure it out. Satan keeps twisting their minds with games of give me your soul, don't be reborn ever, grant me your power. Hell is a special place for violent crime, you reap what you sow. Especially it is endless nights of fighting, running, draining you enough to want to die forever. To those who lived out violent crime lives Satan sits on and bullies fair. He likes being the punishment of the wicked. There is no fairness for those that cannot control their anger, hot ambition. They are victims to alien faces they know they must please but are impossible and have the most fearsome nightmare consequences. Hunted by people they must make amends, but only works as far to motivate them there is a point. At the gate into the abyss, they came across one of the lords of hell, Asmodeus. They could sacrifice intelligence for a week, but would grow painfully into new double the IQ points, really making you question if it's a trade at all. Asmodeus, Mammon, never content with their place in hell, always looking for more. Greetings, beast of 7 equal lords. He had 4 crab legs in a circle, 4 meters, his face, huge pumpkin-like was his face on his stomach. On his head without a face sat still a crown with horns curved back and forth, growing where his eyes would be. The crown was wide, wild and beastly. He was black and parts boiling red, fat bodybuilder arms, polearm and halberd. He was auxiliary in rule and general, evil primary. You look alive, he scrolled with his giant mouth, it looked like a wave. I offer a deal as you know for alive and hell personnel. Offer your flesh, poison your mind for 1 to 6 IQ points. You will be fine eventually, about 8 days. No one can stand the cut of more than 6 IQ points. I am Lord of Temptation, you will not escape with intelligence and being wise. I will trade 5 IQ I have decided, said Arnaud. BWA ha ha. Arnaud's body twisted horribly and unnaturally. Bones broke and he handled the pain whence it came. A face-grab creature jumped on him and muffled him. He laid on the floor being absorbed. Pain is fleeting, from damage we grow fine, said James, 6 IQ points. Asmodeus cut out his eyes with both claws. BWA ha ha. Asmodeus stabbed him with a spear of Egyptian corruption in the stomach, making him sick and brittle, like pressure in the skull. My eyes. Bloodied claw-cut face were he, hollow and helpless. Try to see more than half the picture, suffer with consciousness impair. James grew his spiritual sense. It was thus a 3-meter sphere around him like he could see, through piercingly, secrets. I can lightning and healing magic that can let you see until we are done in hell. Nemesis used godly palm healing. Do we have to fight Satan? I cannot let you just fight him. You might slay the Lord of Hellscape and red boiling skin. You will fall and you will not defy my pole arms. He dashed through James with a pole arm slice, turning him unconscious. Perpetual second of torment. He made Yensid clasp his head and out of the fight. Beget implosion. Arnaud crunched his crown into nothingness and seemed to give his metal tetanus. What do you think you're doing? Said Asmodeus. Arnaud pulled out her infinite ultra beget claymore, speckled and woven in metal. Asmodeus came dashing. He held his sword up in 2 hands.
It is fine, of course, to be trans and change of gender. If you're born the wrong gender, you're born the wrong gender, you know. You convinced me, you know, of course. Some people look and seem in every way like a woman, so why not? Right, trans rights. There are some... But I thought about, what about like a big change, like when you're gonna trick somebody with an April Fool's Day? So I told my sister I'm gonna change gender on April Fool's Day, and she believed me. That was true. Next day I told you April Fool's Day, you know. Yeah, okay, we accept it. It's okay, we accept you the way you are, she was like. Next year I'm gonna pour about 100 hamsters through her window. Oh, hey, I'm here. How are you doing? Can I visit now? Every hamster you catch will give you $10.
Asmodeus came dashing. He held his sword up in 2 hands, French celestial scream. The aura and pretty effect came like an explosion and easily knocked his away. That's a counter, do you like it? Based on the damage you've done. Yensid got up ready to be conscious. It distracted Asmodeus. Mental paralysis. Yensid clasped his head again and went to his knees. Arnaud had cut through his stomach on the right and pierced some
That was a
demon-looking
cute,
organ.
happy Pride Month, I think. A whole month to be proud of who you are. It's not just good, it's completely, really fine, you know? I'm sad it's over. Can't believe all these corporations are following through with Pride Month. If they're part of a capitalistic structure, you know? I'm a proud bisexual. It's just a reasonable, logical thing to be. I wouldn't have it any other way. It feels such an easy choice for me, you know. It feels like it makes so much sense. I can't understand anyone who goes like, "Oh no, you can't be bisexual," says a Christian guy, because the Bible said so. The Bible. Well, I have the Bible, and it says I should definitely be bisexual. You know, it's self-published ancient book. The Bible.
Arnaud had cut through his stomach on the right and pierced some demon-looking organ.
It really is an easy, natural part of me that I do not question, just goes along, you know? It is a very fine thing to be.
Arnaud had cut through his stomach on the right and pierced some demon-looking organs. Speed of mental health. You think I will lose? You think I will lose from this? I am hell incarnate. What do you think Satan thinks of this? I know what I said. I'm good enough to replace Satan. Bundle of joy. Asmodeus regurgitated black dynamite and Arnaud blocked with holy sword defense and absorption. Asmodeus came slashing through the smoke. Arnaud blocked and swiftly slashed. It was a 50 instance blocking and attacking. They picked up speed, Asmodeus said. Restlessness attack. Something came digging from 9 directions centered on Arnaud. He spent the 5 seconds thinking. The attack centered powerfully and destroyed Arnaud. He went with white eyes coughing blood and flew onto a plateau. Asmodeus said restlessness, again, but the attack was blocked by Yensid pouting his ass. You think butt wizards are weak to mind magic, do you? You won't affect me again. Take this coward, restlessness, fiery hatred. A dual slice that Yensid blocked with his ass. It sounded like dropping an anchor to the bottom of a spar. Embrace my strongest attack, gallivanting bludgeon, first executed Frenchman. During revolution. Yensid blocked with his ass, ASS counter. The limbs weren't going anywhere. They measured power and it rose up like steel resisting a skyscraper. Power went through measurable means, they glitched out of space and time. Where is Yensid? Said James awoken. I see tears in the fabric of reality, I can't look at it. That's what happens when an immovable force meets an infinite object. Maybe we can find him later. Wait until next fight. At Circle 5 they met Darji, a fox-like human with 9 tails, body-long tails designed to torture, one of the worst weapons of the gods. Greetings Darji, she was cutting a man 1,000 times and lighting them on fire on her Pao-Lao. Adventures gather, I know of the war. She seems like the ISFP personality, the adventurer if you will. Completely unique world of feelings, harmonizing and morals, unique like the most beautiful painting, yet they're concerned with getting on, action. To live through their senses one more time, a fragile adventurer sometimes sturdy. Are you going to fight? Said Arnaud accented. I am busy with these souls. I have no purpose if the gods don't grant me one. You are a vessel, said Arno. I am a weapon, but Emperor Joe is dead forever. Your violence is legendary, said Oliveria and bowed, cuts, burns and bleeds to languish. Dargy flirted back like they were at the cinema. Don't toy with me, Oliveria. I like it when they burn. You should try chemical burns. Analyzing the power of burns and chemistry might be done through scientific curiosity, see? But there is also sin and insanity. Do you deserve to be here? Can you leave? Said James. I work here. I just think it's the gravest punishments for the gravest errors. Would you fight Satan? How about that? Said Arno. I believe in the winning side. Smarter James said, we are the winning side. I can kill Satan in one hit. He is doomed. She didn't realize it was the Nemesis unsheath. Cousin, said Nemesis, you know I can kill him too. Nemesis, I didn't even know you were here. I barely leave Circle 5 anymore. You were bloodthirsty. Come be judged by my third eye. If we can have some fun first. Say no, said James. It feels spiritual. Satan's fall. Nemesis looking about. Dargy. Satan appeared in a harrow endless void and vortex. You won't believe what I say next. Satan. Fight us now. We're going to deepest hell double quick. None defied us. Buys my ancient retribution. James.
Bye.
Satan thought they might not find my ancient weapons deeper down, see?